I'm getting out of town.
We'll be at Cathedral High School for the big showdown. St. Augustine taking on
Saints Cathedral, the Holy War, basketball style.
It's a big one. So we'll be in the house tomorrow on campus.
I'm upset that I won't be able to join you tomorrow.
Yeah, make sure. I guess students are still in school right now, so they wouldn't hear this at this point. But nonetheless, we'll be there. Again, as I said, not a lot going on in baseball. A little bit. We'll have Ken Dorsey on later in this hour. Excuse me, Ken Dorsey, Russ Dorsey,
former offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, coming on the show.
That's a good guess.
Sorry,
it's very good.
Russ Dorsey, MLB insider, join us in the 3 o'clock.
Yeah, that would be unlike you, Skraby, to get somebody that interesting for the show.
Hauser shot
fire. Ba-bang. Man. Opening up an early lead today.
The early lead.
And opening up an early lead on you, Skrabe.
Skraby's favorite TMZ special, 30 Mile Zone, in the 3 o'clock hour. We'll have our usual Chris versus the fans and the Big Five also in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
What do you got, guys? I mean,
I got the Washington Commanders. And obviously,
they did.
Yeah, obviously the Commanders
name and logo.
That too.
That's been the
that should be the reaction to their coaching hire right there. Let's hear it again.
Name and logo.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
I've heard this sentiment.
Did they not see the NFC playoff game between the Cowboys and the Packers, where the Packers went up and down the field against one of the most talented defenses in the NFL?
By the way, did Dak Prescott throw a couple bad passes?
You're not going to blame that game on their defense. They gave up 48 points.
Their defense was great all year.
All right, well, fine. The Commanders must agree with you because they hired the Dallas defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, as their new coach. I don't know. To me, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, that was a blowout game for Green Bay. And, I mean, I don't care if my defense is good all year, but when it matters the most, I put in a performance like that, and that earns me a new head coaching job? Wow. Interesting to me.
Skraby, what say you?
I'd much rather have Dan Quinn than whoever the heck.
Oh, really? You'd rather have Dan Quinn than Mike Vrabel or the greatest coach of all time, Bill Belichick?
Yes.
All right.
Now, apparently,
that's why you're going to be a loser forever, Skraby. I mean, you're going to go hire guys like Dan Quinn. Come on, man. Really?
Skraby, what say you?
Mike Vrabel is so much better than Dan Quinn. I'm shocked that Mike Vrabel doesn't have a job.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel doesn't have a job because he's not that good of a coach.
Coaches
that are good enough will have jobs.
Nice try, Skraby. I mean, we see the horrible coaching in the NFL on a yearly basis, and we're going to see it next year too. Because there's some good. I'll tell you one thing.
Tony just saying, bro.
Mike Vrabel will have his pick of what job he wants next year. I mean, they're not going to forget about this.
That could just be 500 for his tenure.
That's so unfair and so wrong. I mean, when he was with Tennessee, they had the number 1 seed with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback.
And what did they do?
They lost, but I'm just saying he got them there.
Yeah,
that's pretty all right. Well, what did Mike Vrabel do to you?
Because
you obviously just hate this guy.
No, the
what don't you like? You've hated him. No, you've hated him the whole time.
Coach,
he's not a mediocre coach.
I don't get it.
That's fine.
This is a good start to the show.
Who was the NFL Coach of the Year in 2021? Skraby, I go to you for an answer.
I'm assuming it's Mike Vrabel.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah. Chris brings it up when it fits his argument.
Well, you wouldn't bring it up to fit. You can't bring it up to fit your narrative because it doesn't fit your narrative. The fact that the guy won a Coach of the Year award, and you're trying to tell me that he's terrible.
I'm going to go look up some stats on that.
Well, good luck. Good luck finding them. You're not going to find many to support your claim.
Honestly, Chris, you got to say there's a reason why the Commanders didn't hire Mike Vrabel and hire Dan Quinn instead.
Well, the reason is the Commanders don't have a clue. That's the reason, as far as I can tell. But yeah, good for you, Washington. You've got a retread coach who stunk the first time he was a head coach.
Wait, did he get a Super Bowl?
Super Bowl?
No. Dan Quinn?
He might have tagged along with the Seahawks.
Was he on the 28-3 Super Bowl?
Yes, I think he was, wasn't he?
He was that was Mike Smith.
Ah, yes, you're right.
That was Mike Smith.
Was he connected to that? So was he a defense?
I think he was connected to the Seahawks.
Was he the coordinator? I know he was a coordinator for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But he went somewhere after that.
And he was with the Legion of Boom. But I mean, he had more talent there than he had in Dallas. He couldn't mess that one up. but he sure blew it for. I mean, if you're a Dallas fan and Washington's in your own division, you got to be ecstatic that they chose this guy.
Mister, I have all my facts over there. Dan Quinn was the head coach of the Falcons.
That's what I thought.
In Super Bowl 51.
Seriously?
Seriously.
I'm the bearer of bad information. What can I tell you?
That also said Dog the Bounty Hunter passed away yesterday.
Well, I'm
off to a terrific start.
like we said at the beginning, at one point, something is going to happen in the sports world to give us something to talk about. In the meantime, we're going to be arguing over Dan Quinn and Mike Vrabel. So that's all we've got.
On the flip side of that, well, not really the flip side. It has nothing to do with that.
Dan Quinn was standing on the sidelines while that lead was getting away.
I'm not gonna lie. I was pretty sure of that, and then as you started to go in on him,
Mike Smith.
I thought, you know what? Maybe this is where Chris is taking it, so that we can bring up the debacle of giving up the Super Bowl. That's what I thought you were going to
I should have actually used that as a point in my favor.
And Chris also said, "Nice try" to you, saying that Dan Quinn was the coach.
Anyway.
There's nothing that makes me more happy when Chris attacks me in the first 30 seconds of the show, and then this happens.
Did I say that Mike Vrabel was coach of the year in 2021? That I'm sure of.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's one fact I got right.
The Padres, on the flip side of all of this, ESPN is like gradually rolling out their schedule. Padres get a May 19th game against a Sunday night game against the Braves, against the Bravos.
Don't they have a few Sunday night games already penned in?
They do.
They have the first Dodger game, don't? Well,
Yes,
they have
they
the
do.
Korea
They
games,
got the
of
Korea
course.
game. Yep.
But then once the season starts, I thought they had an early.
They probably do.
Sunday
This
night
is just
game.
the latest one that has come to the public's eye.
Okay.
May 19th. You got a May 5th matchup, Giants, Phillies, May 12th, Braves, Mets, and then May 19th, Padres, Braves. I'm not sure where that game is at this point. Nonetheless, would you say there, Skraby? Oh yeah, check the schedule there. What is that a home game or away game?
They got Sunday,
It's
April
away.
4th. They got Sunday, April 14th at Dodger Stadium. They got that Sunday night game, and then they got the May 19th game at Atlanta. So neither of those games are here, though.
Yeah, no.
So, I got to be honest with you. Sunday night game, going to the game kind of throws off my schedule. So it's fine. They're on the road.
Oh, like actually attending the game, you mean? Is
Yeah,
that what you're saying?
I've been to a couple of Sunday night Padre games, and it messes up the week for me because
Wow.
I get home and I don't think it's Sunday night. So I was just
That's
at
a
a
good.
night
That's a
game.
good point. That's how
it's
it
kinda
went for me
crazy.
a couple times last year.
See, I'm not
Um,
wrong.
One of the other things that popped up in terms of the Padres, kind of predictions on which some of the top prospects, where they will be throughout the course of the year, where they make it to the big leagues. What is the prediction? And the Padres have two guys in that top 50. Ethan Salas, Jackson Merrill is 9 and 12 respectively. According to ESPN's prediction,
Is this ESPN or ESPN Plus?
Oh, that's a good question. Was this a plus?
Because I don't know. I'm only paying attention to it if you had to pay for it.
It was.
It was a plus.
All
deal.
right.
All right.
No,
So
you
this
had to
is
pay-
lock
this
in
is-
right here.
This is the kind of information that is, you can't get anywhere else.
Ethan Salas, the prediction is we'll get a taste of the big leagues as an 18-year-old.
Okay.
Salas will
I would
perform
agree with
well
that.
enough to earn a September call-up as an 18-year-old this season, not necessarily to contribute, but to learn. Before the year is over, he will have carved a path to being a big league regular at some point in 2025. That would be, I think, would be a enormous jump.
I hope that if he makes it in September, he makes a team that could use his services. Because the other side of that is if he's a September call up on a season that you've already given up on, then he would almost obviously be a September call up just to see what he can do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
What would be more
you'd rather it be where he comes up
Yes.
to learn as
Yes,
opposed
where
to
he-
play.
yes, I want him to come up to learn a little bit behind these guys, but be part of something that's going on.
Yeah, that would probably be best case scenario.
Yeah.
Now, as for Jackson Merrill, the prediction is he will play in the big leagues before the All-Star break. And
Wow.
this one, think about it.
That's a good prediction.
I think so too, right? You already have Manny who's going to start, the year DHing, so that's one less infielder you have. I could see a scenario in which he could make the team out of spring training, assuming nothing else happens from this point on. Having a guy like that to kind of come up, be one of your young guns off the bench.
Did he ever actually go out and play outfield last year in the minor leagues? I know there was discussion about it.
I think he did go play in the outfield in the minor leagues last year.
Because I can't imagine him coming to the major leagues and then them saying, we're going to give you some time in left field. Because remember they tried that with Adam Frazier. I mean, he was already a big leaguer, and they put him in the outfield, and it didn't really pan out too well.
I mean, and he had played some outfield too. It wasn't like brand new, and I'm pretty sure Jackson did last year.
Yeah,
get some opportunities.
Because if you're predicting that Jackson Merrill is going to play in the big leagues before the All-Star break, you're predicting one of two things: A, somebody's going to get injured, or B, he's going to come play in the major leagues and be in the outfield. Because I can't see they're going to bring him up to take, Ha-Seong Kim or Xander Bogaerts or Manny out of the lineup.
Of course.
So if he's going to come up and play, you're predicting that he's going to play in the outfield.
Of course, if Ha-Seong Kim gets traded here before,
true that.
That's another way he could end up on that roster.
True that.
Well before the All-Star break. So
agreed.
Yeah, that's what we have for you in this.
That was worth the $7.99 we spent this month on ESPN Plus.
Of course, you didn't just get those two players when you paid the $7.99. You got a list
the whole
of 50,
list,
right?
Yeah, you get them all. Right.
We only cared about.
We only
two.
gave you the two.
Yeah. So let's get the break. We're popping off in this.
We're going to break. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to get to 11 more breaks before the show is over, Tony. So good luck on that.
I can tell you about Mike Vrabel's 9-game over 500 career.
Well, why don't you hold that before we come back and you guys can continue that banter a little bit?
I don't want to fight though.
I mean, I kind of enjoyed it.
I know you did.
All right. Well, let's get to break. Fan Fest announced. We'll get into it. We're going to Chris on the way.
Don't have time.
You didn't tell me we had to come up with a second segment for the show today, huh?
Oh, we got to come up with a bunch of segments.
We got a few more to go after this one. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby. Final numbers.
The decibels dropped right there.
Final numbers,
Matt
Dan
Skraby.
Quinn, 2 winning seasons out of 6, 43-42 record, 1 Super Bowl appearance.
The boys went to the lab after that break, huh?
Mike Vrabel, 4 winning seasons out of 6, 54-45, 1 AFC championship, 1 number 1 seed, and 1 coach of the year. Take your pick. Washington Commanders picked Dan Quinn.
Here's Mike Vrabel's playoff history. He's made the playoffs 3 out of the 1. Let me see. 1, 2.
Yeah, he made it 3 out of 6 years.
3 out of 6 years, but he only won a game in 1 occurrance of those playoffs. So
he's got 1 win in the playoffs.
He hasn't won a playoff game since 2019.
Yeah, Dan Quinn won. Dan Quinn haven't.
I'm not even.
The Commanders
I'm not even
haven't.
arguing Dan Quinn. I'm just arguing that Mike Vrabel is not as good of a coach as everybody thinks he is. He's 9 games over 500.
So you're not necessarily saying that he's better. You're just saying that he ain't all that.
Yeah,
I don't
get it. I don't.
9 games over 500 is not.
It's not great.
Not bad.
It's not amazing.
What was Dan? Or not Dan?
He was like 500. Which again, I'm not arguing that he's a better coach.
To me, Mike Vrabel did a hell of a job for the Tennessee Titans. I think his worst year was last year. I know his record was worse this year, but he was breaking in a rookie quarterback. And I think a lot of people breaking in rookie quarterbacks struggle for a while.
It's kind of odd that the just on a coaching note, not these two coaches, that the greatest coach ever.
Yeah, Belichick's out too.
With 6 openings, didn't get a look. But for two teams, it sounded like the Commanders there were some votes that wanted Belichick there. But he didn't win out either. That's the second time he didn't win out.
Yeah, Belichick, yeah. I mean, look, that's probably a bigger argument we can make there. I don't care. If I'm the Dallas Cowboys and I'm a fan of the Cowboys and I saw the performance of my defense in that playoff game, and now I come to realize that the guy coaching that defense is now head coach of a team in my division, I'm pleased. Pleased if I'm the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think the Washington Commanders did any better. Ron Rivera was just as good as Dan Quinn will be. That's my call. I'll probably be wrong. Skraby will tape it. And when the Commanders start out 4-0 next year, he'll play it endlessly.
The one thing that I have come to know about Matthew Skraby is he's got a long memory when it comes to things where he's actually right on. Like, he is not going to forget.
There's a reason for that, Tony.
I'm calling him Dan Campbell.
That's a reason for that.
I know where Chris is going with this. So.
Oh, what's the reason for it? I'm sorry.
He's not right very often.
Yeah,
doesn't have a lot to remember.
Just such a stock answer at this point. Did you go grab that off Adobe stock?
It was built in, huh?
That's a built-in response for that one.
Yeah,
that was too easy for me to pass up. Here we go into the second segment of the program, and I was going to talk about the. I don't really remember what we were going to talk about.
Fest.
The Fan Fest.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes. Tony Gwynn and all of the Padres will be available for another Fan Fest this year. It was a huge event last year.
Ever. It was the biggest ever.
Biggest thing ever last year. Now, it is going to be taking place on a Sunday this year. I think last year was on a Saturday.
Yes.
But it'll be Sunday, March 24th. So you want to mark that down. If you are any kind of Padre fan, you'll want to be there.
You think it'll be a little more low-key this time?
I think that they are accounting for people to show up, like as many people.
Well,
last year they didn't account for that many people.
Here's what I think. The Fan Fest is going to be taking place after the first 2 games of the season have been played. The first regular season games are be against the Dodgers in Korea, March 20th and 21st. I imagine you guys will be coming home on the 22nd through the 23rd.
Well, we get a day back.
And you'll be...
So we leave on the 21st, come back on the 21st.
All right. So you have a couple of days to sleep in before the Fan Fest. My point is if the Padres win both those games over the Dodgers, I think the Fan Fest will be a madhouse.
Yeah.
That's my point. If they just take those 2 games, people will be, making pennant plans.
From a selfish standpoint, one of the things I didn't enjoy about last year was seeing all of the Fan Fest photos like thrown back in our face.
What do you mean?
Oh, people did that.
Yo,
Really? They
was
went
on my
to
account.
Oh, remember
Yeah,
all these pictures of Manny and Bogarts
with
and
the
Soto
big
and how
crowd
great they
behind
are.
them. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
happened. That happened. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. There was really nothing I can say either.
That's revisionist
had to eat
stuff,
it.
though. That really, truly is. There
How
was
many-
nobody. That's what I love about the fans out there that criticize what AJ Preller and what Bob Melvin and what the Padres did. There was nobody last March 24th who didn't think the Padres were headed for greatness.
Nobody.
And
Zero.
but all of the people come August said, "I told you so." And I was like, "You told us what? You didn't tell us that."
Nobody saw that.
Nobody saw that coming, that they would struggle all year long and be sitting there below 500 and make a late run and miss the playoffs and the whole thing. You were getting ready for October out there.
Yeah.
On the chat, Jacob says, "Yeah, well, Tatis literally said he would win the World Series to the crowd."
He didn't say what year. He didn't say what year, did he?
We are going to finish last.
We're gonna finish second this year.
Yeah.
I don't think it
You
works that
guys
way.
watch the Diamondbacks catch us, pass us, beat us, and there go to the World Series.
Right.
How do you like that, Padre fans?
What is he supposed to say there, right?
I get it, though. I mean, I would like to know how many people were actually in that crowd and
There's
then
a lot.
reshared the photo as like, hey, remember this type of thing.
I don't know that it was anybody. I just assumed it was like Dodger fans sending them out. That's what I assumed. I don't think it was actually Padre fans that were. It was like a get back. Like, you thought it was going to end this
Okay,
way.
I misunderstood your
Yeah,
argument.
no, I'm not talking about Padre fans. I mean, I didn't see that from my standpoint. One of the new things that's going to happen at Fan Fest this year is the first inaugural celebrity alumni game, softball game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Now,
myself,
celebrities
Yeah, where's my
and
spot?
alumni. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Skraby played in the Torrey Pines Celebrity Golf.
I
He's feeling like he qualifies for
It's
this.
actually media, but
I imagine they're going to have bigger name celebrities than Skraby.
well, yeah. I mean, it's.
Oh, I see.
Skraby might get it on it. I don't know. Did you get an invitation, Skraby?
Did not.
I'm just mad. Me and Trevor are managing opposite
Trevor
teams.
Hoffman.
What?
Yes, I'm
You're
sorry.
the
Trevor
skipper.
Hoffman. Yeah. I'm a skipper.
You can make
You
some
can- you
executive
can-
decisions.
You should only agree to it if you get a couple of roster choices.
If I could get a couple roster choices.
Yeah, I get 2 roster choices. I'm taking Chris and Skraby. We'll sit on the end of the bench. We just want to be there, right, Skrabe?
No, just
You want to be in the lineup?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You want like Dave Winfield to bat and then you.
So
That would be nice.
Yeah, I don't think that works.
I'll get some pitches to hit.
There'll be some. Yeah, I mean, listen. I think they're gonna have a little bit of everything. Some NFL, some Olympic, NWSL,
That's awesome.
WNBA,
And that's going to be on the day of the Fan Fest.
That's gonna be on the day of the Fan Fest.
Oh,
Now, I
like
know
that
we got our
idea.
schedule kind of cooking up around Fan Fest, if I'm not mistaken here. I think during our segment, I'll actually be at that softball celebrity
You'll be doing
game.
the softball. We're broadcasting out there that day, but it's still coming together as far as the official time. So we'll
Yeah.
be out there. Tony will be out there. That's great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Managing a team. Now, I know it's too early.
Yeah.
It's a month and a half away, but how serious are you going to take this? I mean, you've got to, you got to put a lineup together. You got to get playing time for everybody. Or are you just gonna?
You got to get playing time for everybody? I thought we were trying to win.
Oh, all right.
You
Well,
know,
that
maybe-
might be your strategy.
Yeah, hey, listen.
So if you're I don't know, Sixto Lezcano or Kevin McReynolds and you don't belong in the lineup, you're going to sit the bench.
Let's say this is like I'm the
You're
power,
tough.
the power of the pen. I was
You're
always
tough.
told that as a player. Now I hold that power.
Well, feel free to use me for late inning pitch hitting. That would
Pitch
be nice.
hitting?
Yes, when you need to drive
You
someone.
notice
in,
you
I'm
did
your
not
guy.
say late inning defensive replacement.
He did not. He
I
did not.
go where my strengths are.
Go where my strengths
And hitting
are.
is, driving someone in is your strength, huh?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I can see the game being in the balance and you being summoned, Scrape. It's kind of like that. What is it? A State Farm commercial or one of the auto insurance commercials where the guy goes, "Hey, Derek, we want you to pinch hit." Some yo-yo named Derek stands up and walks to the manager and goes, "No, Derek Jeter."
Yeah, that's you, buddy.
Yeah,
You
we're
get
gonna
better.
pinch hit him, not you.
Now, whoa, sorry about
Coming
that.
in high.
Easy.
Now, batting. Matthew Skraby.
is when everybody
That
in
would
their,
be
at least
amazing.
in their head, is like, oh, this is an out right here.
Do you hear the crowd?
No, I hear you, and I hear that we need to go to break.
I can see everybody getting up and going to the restroom.
Right. Let's get to break. Rest
Why the
Dorsey,
restroom?
MLB insider, joins us next here on Gwynn and Chris. 2:37 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Skraby. Shout out to Mark Andrews. My man did something amazing. Skraby will get to that later.
Is this Mark Andrews from the
Baltimore Ravens?
Yes, the tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. He didn't do anything amazing Sunday.
No, unfortunately, he didn't.
No, not much.
Did Chris wake up on my side of the bed this morning?
His counterpart did some
catching
things.
strays. I mean, first,
sorry, Mark
Dan
Andrews,
Gwynn was catching strays, and now my man,
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is catching strays.
I don't like when people perform poorly and then are, immediately rewarded after.
So basically, the entire Dolphins team.
What have they been rewarded with?
I don't know. It was just a shot.
It was
another shot that not only missed the bullseye, it missed the dartboard entirely.
Pew pew.
I don't want to fight Chris today because he seems like he's
you
very
keep saying
serious.
that, but then you keep poking the bear, man. So I don't know.
He's poking this
he
bear.
definitely poked you too. I mean, he came at you hot, but
and I went.
I can't with you. I'm a little irritated right now.
Whoa.
Got a Celtics Lakers matchup tonight.
Oh boy.
And LeBron and AD are out.
Both
ruled out.
Yeah. Why even have the other 10 guys pull into TD Garden? They know they have no shot.
No, you got a shot.
You have a shot? You feel like you have a shot?
No, I didn't say I feel like it, but you have to play the game.
Well, then somebody tell that to LeBron and AD. Because they're sitting out.
They are.
I swear the Lakers don't care. And I don't mean it in that way. I mean it in the way that they just want to get in as one of the top 10 teams in the West. And they're going to feel like they're going to take the same route they took last year, win the play-in tournament and go all the way to the finals.
I don't like that.
I agree with you because it's too risky.
It's not an easy watch. It's stressful for the fans. And it's going to be real hard to do that again. I mean, to go from, what was it, the 8th seed last year?
I think they were seven, and they almost lost to Minnesota in the game that
had to get them in there.
Eliminated.
Yeah. So hopefully, Boston says, LeBron and AD aren't playing today, so we don't need to show up.
No,
that's what I hope.
They don't need to show up, and they're still going to win tonight.
Chris,
you know that.
No, I don't know that.
You know it. You don't want to know it.
Whatever.
Sorry, buddy.
Let's get to Russ Dorsey, MLB Insider, right now. He's joining us on the line. Russ Dorsey, MLB Insider. Russ, always lovely to have you on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing all right. It's a little wet out here. I don't know what the weather is like in Chicago, but
usually this time of year, I'd much rather be where y'all are than where I am, but we're actually doing all right. It's about 52 degrees, sun shining, so we actually got a nice day.
You got to go for a sail on Lake Michigan. It sounds like.
Listen, I went for my first outdoors run here of 2024 today. Got 3 miles in, so I had the same idea in mind, getting some of that outdoors weather.
Awesome,
very good.
Awesome. I mean, as you don't get these type of days in Chicago this time of year very often, so enjoy it. Speaking of the Cubs, let's start there. I mean, they have a nice free agent out there that was a part of their ball club last year. He has yet to sign. I'm talking Cody Bellinger. I mean, at this point, is Chicago? I think Chicago's still in it. Are they waiting for maybe that price tag to drop before they really jump all the way back in?
I think the interesting thing when we're talking about Cody Bellinger and free agency right now, and as you guys know, free agency's been pretty weird this year, right? It's been pretty slow. I think for Cody Bellinger, he's probably sitting there and saying, all right, I got time. We're February 1st. I know teams are reporting spring training here in a couple of weeks. But if you're Cody Bellinger, there's still teams that would like your services. It does feel like the Cubs are the match for him. And I think on the Cubs side, and this is what I've talked about with a lot of people since free agency started for the Cubs, now that all the big boys are off the board, right, or most of the big boys are off the board in terms of free agents, you have a guy in Cody Bellinger that had his best season since he won the MVP years ago, right? And so you have a guy who stayed healthy for the most part, obviously banged up a bit early in the season, but still was able to do his thing. If you take him off that roster, right, they not only lose Cody Bellinger, they lose their best position player from 2023, right? So I think it's a bigger calculation for them, right? It's not just saying we want Cody Bellinger back. It's like we want the guy who was our best position player last season back too. So it does feel like Cody Bellinger and the Cubs are a hand in glove fit. However, you got a lot of teams out there that are still looking for some punch here late in the game. And look, whether that's the Giants, is it Toronto who swung and missed a couple of times this offseason? That there are teams out there. And I think for Cody Bellinger and his representation, Scott Boras, you can sit back and wait for teams to come to you and see who blinks first.
I was just going to ask, who do you think is going to blink first? But I think I know the answer. If it's between Boras and it's between Major League Baseball teams, history tells us that the Major League Baseball teams are the ones who give in first and Boras wins. Do you think that's going to end up happening again in the next month and a half?
Do I think Scott wins? Well, Scott clients usually win. If you look at all the money that he's got, guys, over 3 decades, 4 decades, his guys usually do pretty well. I do think the interesting part about this year's free agency, because of so many unknowns when it comes to regional sports networks, and I know people in San Diego have experienced that, and people in Arizona, and then you have teams like Texas Rangers, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Cleveland Guardians, all these teams caught up, and everything going on with the Bally RSNs. I do think that has played a bit of a factor into what teams feel that they are able or not able to do. So do I think a team will blink first and Cody Bellinger will sign a multi-year deal somewhere? I do. But do I think this offseason specifically we're going to have more teams, kind of waiting for the bargain bin? I do.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's, as you said, that's kind of every year, right? I mean, every year there's a team searching. There's teams searching in that bargain barrel, and then there's the teams looking to, make it rain. And so, we'll see how this one ends up going down. You mentioned the Bally situation in Amazon. I'm interested. What are your thoughts on that? Because it seems like, Major League Baseball has been trying to figure out this whole streaming situation. We know Amazon Prime is one of those type of situations. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, well, you guys know that's a situation I know pretty well from working over there for the last couple of years before leaving. And I think for me, you have Major League Baseball, who, to your point, have been trying to figure out, what is next in terms of watching baseball, right? I know you probably hear it out there. I hear it. I hate hearing it, but it's like people are, oh, people don't watch baseball. One, it's not true, right? More people went to baseball games last season than they have in over 20 years. So baseball is doing things right in terms of the product on the field. But now that the world has changed so much in terms of where you can watch, how you can watch, what services you watch through, I do think baseball was kind of behind the times, and not just baseball, so were other sports, right? I think you're going to watch with the NBA. Their rights deal is up at the end of the season. There's going to be a lot of people lined up to get NBA rights TV deals. And some of these, old school, big time TV networks aren't really looking to have sports on like that anymore, knowing that the big boys like your Amazons, your Apples, and, I've been doing the Friday Night Baseball games for the last couple of seasons, and how that has really changed. Like, does Apple get involved, right? Does Amazon get involved? And when those two, who have more money than anybody else in the world, get involved, there's going to be a lot of dollars thrown around. So do I think we get to a point where something like blackout restrictions ends? Yes. And I think that's great for the game of baseball as a whole. When does that happen, though? I think that's the question we're still waiting to see.
Russ Dorsey, Baseball Insider, is a frequent contributor to our program, and we appreciate it. Russ, guy that's real close to us is Blake Snell, and we know we've kind of said our goodbyes here in San Diego, but we're curious as to where he's going to ultimately land. The only team I keep hearing is the Yankees, but if it's that simple, why hasn't something gotten done yet? It sounds like he, fairly would like to be paid somewhere around what Yamamoto got paid, being as he's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner, but I don't know that anybody's going to meet that asking price.
No, I think you're right. And I think it was the true definition of betting on yourself, right? Guy going his age 30 season, leading the big leagues in ERA, right? Where from, I believe, June 1st on, the guy had damn near a sub-1 ERA, striking out the world. And I think something that, teams think about, because it's not just one season that teams are thinking about in terms of free agency. It's like, all right, what's the entire Blake Snell picture, right? He's a guy that's going to be able to strike people out, right? He's also a guy that is going to walk people. And I do think that scares some teams, right? It's like, okay, if he's not going to be striking everybody out or be as electric as he was last season, if that's not his average, what is an average Blake Snell season? I think that's what a team is going to ask. And if he's not going to have this, close to 2 ERA that he had last season when he won the Cy Young Award, is that ERA closer to 3.5 or maybe 4 with the walks where they are? I think that's what some teams are asking about Blake Snell. And I think it's unfair for Blake because he did everything that you would have asked him to do. He went out there, he posted, he struck people out. He was able to dominate. That's what you want from an ace. You want somebody who can go out there and dominate. I think the Yankees are definitely would have been a fit, right? When they went and pivoted and signed Marcus Stroman, and then you have a team here in town like the Chicago Cubs who, they have a left-hander in Justin Steele, but they added Imanaga. But you're still thinking, all right, if you had a guy like a Blake Snell, that rotation, with all their arms, with some of the young arms they have coming, that's a strong addition. So, do I think Blake Snell has options? Yes, I do think similar to Cody Bellinger, who is going to be that team that blinks, right? Who is that team that's going to say, we need a frontline starter and we want Blake Snell to be that guy?
Russ Dorsey joins us, MLB insider on Gwynn and Chris. And Russ, let's stick here in San Diego. I mean, obviously the team did not play the expectation last year. You go out to this offseason, you move Soto, you get a bunch of young pitchers, up-and-coming pitchers back from that deal. This is still a team that has on its roster Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ha-Seong Kim. That's not to mention Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. This is a team that I know Chris and I believe will have a better season this year. Where do you think that falls in terms of the standings? What do you think their win mark is?
Yeah, it's tough considering all that the Dodgers did, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just the Padres, right? I don't just think it's San Diego that saw what the Dodgers doing. It was all of baseball. And I think, it's unrealistic to say that's not going to be something that you got to deal with there if you're the Padres. But here's the other part. Do they have a talent advantage over a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks? Yes, they do. But at the same time, as we asked ourselves last season, when I came on with you guys during the season, it's just like, where are the real Padres? And they were never able to flip the switch. I think the saving grace for the Padres is in that lineup, right? Like you have to expect, another healthy season for Fernando Tatis Jr. He takes another step forward, right? Manny Machado, you're always going to get a consistent season, close to MVP caliber season out of him. And the big one for me would be Xander Bogaerts, right? The guy that they signed to $280 million deal last offseason who had a 790 OPS, right? Is Xander Bogaerts the type of player to put up a 790 OPS? No, he's a guy that's usually well over 800, being able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He still put up a decent season, right? 285, 350 on base, but didn't hit the ball out of the ballpark as much, and that was to be expected. Fenway's a really hitter-friendly ballpark, but I do expect an offensive jump from a guy like a Xander Bogaerts. And maybe with, some of the changes that they had to make this offseason, guys look around and say, well, we have to be the ones that, make that change. And I think they believe, and I think AJ Preller believes that with the managerial change and you bring in Mike Schilt, that he can get something out of this group that they haven't been able to get before.
Padres have been bargain shopping this offseason, and I'm just curious. I mean, as they get down here to the end of free agency, and I mean, some of the names I see don't seem like would be affordable for the Padres. They still need first base. They still need an outfielder or two just to fill out the roster. Is there anybody they can look to that might be available in a discount type form?
Yeah, I mean, and I guess when you're looking at outfielders, and maybe a guy like Kevin Pillar, maybe that's something that you think could work for you. Tyler Naquin, Will Myers, guys who have been around the block before. And I think when you're looking at first baseman, right, like, is Brandon Belt the type of guy you want to bring in? A guy who had a solid season, but is 36 years old. So I think that's something you're going to have to ask yourself. Like, do you go and look for some back-end starting pitching? The benefit for them, there's plenty of starting pitching out there that's not right at the top of the market, like Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery. Maybe, is it that a guy like, do you bring a Mike Clevenger back, right? Do you put a lotto ticket out on a guy like a Michael Lorenzen and hope that you can get something out of them? Those are the type of arms that I'm thinking that they're going to have to add, because you're not going to be at the top of the market, right? Zach Davies, Jake Odorizzi, guys like that. So they're fortunately for the Padres, there are players available in their, where their market is this offseason. And it's just deciding who they think is going to fit to make them a better team in 2024.
We certainly have heard a few of those names mentioned on our show, so especially the Brandon Belt. But Russ, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us, man. We'll do it again here as spring training gets ready to kick off.
Looking forward to it.
We got to let this guy go so he can go outside and enjoy the beautiful day in Chicago.
It's snowing tomorrow. Y'all know Chicago.
Take care, Russ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Russ Dorsey, not Ken Dorsey, but Russ Dorsey.
He's living the high life today in the sunshine of Chicago.
You could hear his happiness of being able to go. He said that was his first run of 2024.
First time he's gone jogging outside. Yeah. I mean, and we're whining endlessly that we have a rain day here in San Diego.
I stepped in a puddle earlier, and it really made me mad because my
can
foot
I
is
ask you
wet.
a question? How did you step in a puddle, Skraby?
I was texting, and
surprise.
I wasn't paying attention, and then I stepped in the puddle.
That. You deserve that. Then.
Did you see the swimming pool outside?
Because you shouldn't be texting while you're walking. Man.
See the swimming pool outside the 7-Eleven out there?
I did not go up to 7-Eleven.
Oh my God, our 7-Eleven has a swimming pool in front of the
Oh, I'm glad I did.
In front of the front door.
I usually go before the show.
I almost went stop there and get some airheads, and I was like, I've had them 2 days in a row. I need to stop.
Mr. Gwynn, you're keeping us in business over here.
Let's get to break. Daily Damage, I can tell you, it didn't go well for anybody last night.
Again.
You'll get a chance to see how bad it went for all three of us. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
It's Annie from Annie and Elston. Sure, we'll talk Padres baseball every day, but we'll also discuss fun stories we find that impact you in your own lives.
Listen to Annie and Elston weekdays from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
San Diego, get ready for a new pro team that hits harder, digs deeper, and is taking professional sports to a whole new level. The San Diego Mojo Pro Women's Indoor Volleyball team is here to play and here to stay. They're fierce, they're unstoppable, and together they're rising. This is your chance to lock in the best seats and receive special perks as a season ticket holder during the inaugural Mojo season. Don't miss the nonstop excitement of indoor volleyball starting this February at Viejas Arena. Visit SanDiegoMojoBB.com today.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel,
Babbel.
Babbel, évidemment.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Start learning a language today at Babbel.com.
Tune in to the Smart Investing Show every Saturday morning at 8 right here on 97.3 The Fan. You will learn how to become a smarter investor and how to invest for the long term. If you miss a show, you can always listen to our podcast on smartinvesting2000.com.
High school seniors, the deadline to apply for a Salute to Education scholarship is February 16th. Applications are available at all Ford dealerships or online. For more information, visit www.salutetoeducation.com.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy. Lower mortgage rates are here, and smart homeowners are wiping out all their credit card debt with help from Loan Pronto. Right now, Loan Pronto has a cash-out refinance rate of just 5.49%. That is a huge drop. So you can refi now, get cash out of your home's equity to wipe out all the credit cards and other high-interest loans. You can save hundreds every month with lower payments. Or if you still have a mortgage rate in the threes, you can use Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit. Just get the cash you need, leave your primary mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can get you 50, 75, 100, even 200,000 in just a matter of days. Bottom line, Loan Pronto's got several options to help you erase debt and take control of your finances. Call today. You can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call Loan Pronto now, 619-207-4336, 619-207-4336, or go to loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, 5.49%, has 6.39 APR, subject to lender approval.
You'll never miss any San Diego State news if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
We want to hang a banner. We have an opportunity to do that. Like I said, we're seeing everybody's best effort.
At 97.3 The Fan. KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
This is Yu Darvish from the San Diego Padres.
And 6 no-hit innings for you, Darvish.
The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Always live on the free Odyssey app. The workday is coming to an end.
It is 5 o'clock. I will see you all tomorrow.
But Gwynn and Chris are just getting started.
Sports talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Now, I will say the journey, and it was a journey, to get to the press box is one of the toughest journeys I've been on.
And Chris Ello.
If he hits 2 home runs every game, including well, it's going to be one of those days, huh?
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Chris Hello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Gwynn and Chris, kicking off hour number 2 on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. You can watch on YouTube. Just search for 97.3 The Fan. You can watch the program in progress. We are getting ready for our daily gambit, but we really ought to try to put it off today, guys. We were really awful yesterday. And
I've been awful all week, so this is
you
nothing.
and Skraby are in contention for
At least we're in contention for something.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good thing.
I can't lose a Skraby twice in the same week. That would be.
Oh yeah, you could.
That would be bad.
Conceivably, Caitlin Clark had another big game last night. Moved into the second spot on the all-time college basketball scoring list, and Skraby is already preparing for a daily gripe down the road somewhere. If you've never heard the Daily Gripe, you got to tune into the end of the Skraby Chronicles each day between 6 and 7 on this station. What time does the gripe get underway?
The gripe actually has been pushed to like maybe 250 or 254, 654.
Are you
654?
Are you still finding?
Does that give you enough time?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
If I have a good gripe, I will allow it more time. But if I have a so like last night's gripe was that I was going through the grocery store checkout and I had my little broccoli that I was going to eat for lunch. And so I had one item, but the person in front of me had like 35, 40 items. And she looked at me and she said, "I'm sorry," instead of like letting me in front. Like what? I'm sorry. Just let me in front.
You thought she was going to say, I'm sorry. Do you want to go ahead of me?
She just looked at you. She looked at you with 35 items.
I may be exaggerating, but it was more than you could go through the self-checkout with, and the self-checkouts were being cleaned, so I couldn't go to the self-checkouts.
Skraby thought he was getting a pass.
I mean, isn't that the decent human being thing
I mean,
to do?
it would be nice, but she doesn't have to, or he or she
Sorry.
doesn't have to.
I think she
said
has.
sorry.
I think she has to.
You think she has to?
Yes, the fact that she says sorry almost makes it worse.
She acknowledges that.
Right. She acknowledged that you were there. She acknowledged that she was being a little rude, but she just said sorry.
It's ridiculous.
That's actually a good gripe right there.
That's an excellent.
Most of my
gripe.
grapes are like that.
That sounds like something that could have been on Curb or Seinfeld, like somebody
right
with 35 items and turned and said, I'm sorry,
but I
just
need
stay
to
there.
get going.
Let me get these.
I wish it
items.
was like The
I need to
Office
get
where they
going.
could just like zoom in on my face, being so mad. Like I couldn't have mean mugged her any harder.
If you know Skraby at all, it is hilarious. Like just envisioning this actually happening.
Yeah,
it's
and
bad.
you steaming about it.
Yeah. Well, his other gripe that's going to be coming up on a program soon is the fact that that Caitlin Clark, as great as she is going to eventually pass not only the gal from Poway, Kelsey Plum, right, as the all-time women's leading scorer in college basketball, but she's very close to passing Pete Maravich as the all-time scorer total in college basketball. Now, Pete Maravich, Skraby points out, averaged 44.2 points per game. And that's over a 3-year career at LSU. But
and no 3-point line.
Without a 3-point line.
That's the most incredible part.
That's the most incredible thing. There's no question. Pete Maravich.
She's filling up, but this will be her 4th year season, right?
Caitlin Clark. I think this is it.
Is she not a junior? There's no way she's a junior.
She can't possibly still be a junior. I don't know enough. I have to look her up.
I'm looking it up.
I'm not 100% sure. And I've been the bearer of bad information myself today.
Look, obviously, Caitlin Clark is an unbelievable
She's
scorer.
unreal.
And it makes some sense that she could be able to, she got the 3-point shot.
She's a senior.
She's a senior, okay.
Yeah.
But if she passes Pete Maravich, she's going to be applauded, and deservedly so, as the greatest scorer in college basketball history. But I think Skraby's point, and I'm going to back him up, is that we shouldn't forget really what Pete Maravich accomplished, because it was so off the charts that no one will ever come close to it, I don't think.
Yeah.
44.2 per game with no 3-point line. That's unreal.
I'm confused because it says I'm getting conflicting.
Are you on Wikipedia again?
Oh, no. I'm not jumping in on this argument.
Yeah, it says
discussion.
she entering her senior season, but then I saw junior somewhere else. But
she's a senior.
Okay.
She's a senior.
All right.
But I want to go back.
But you know what? Everybody, sorry to interrupt, but she could get a COVID year. A lot of the athletes are getting an extra year because of the COVID.
2020.
Yeah, she's only played 3 seasons, so she
could conceivably play 5 because of the coronavirus.
But why would she?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, the NIL probably ain't weak right
She's
now.
making a lot of money right now. I'm seeing her on commercials everywhere.
Me too.
The NIL's got to be big time.
Oh, I hope we get to that story a little later on. The whole NIL thing. I was talking to some folks in the know, and it sounds like a lot of the rules around these collective are like changing like day to day right now. You saw that a couple schools are suing the NCAA.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, and I think we're going to have some growing pains here as they start trying to lock things down, because it's starting to turn into the Wild Wild West, right? So
Wild West.
This is but I want to get back to something. I don't want to forget this, because I almost forgot. We would have got through the whole show without me bringing it up. We're talking about gripes. One of your big gripes earlier this week was about backing into spots.
Oh no, this again.
It was so popular. Yesterday, I'm at my daughter's soccer game, and I got parents coming up to me, talking to me about backing into
parking spots for those that are wondering where we're
I actually had some research done on this.
Research?
Yes.
You did.
And this is according to Smith Driver Training System, one of the premier corporate driving training courses.
Yes, I've heard a lot about them.
I'm sure you have. It's out there. It's out there. Drivers spend less than 1% of their time backing up, but a surprising 30 to 40% of all crashes happen when vehicles are in reverse.
This is what I heard.
What's
from people.
more, approximately 210 people die from backing incidents. Yes.
I mean, who's dying backing up in a parking
Just telling
lot?
you.
So you're saying that you're doing the public a
I'm
service
doing
by wasting my time while I wait for you
Yes.
as you back in, but you're doing a public service by doing that.
Public service.
I see.
Safety.
Very nice. of you,
Safety
Tony.
first.
You're a terrific guy.
For both new and experienced drivers, driving in reverse continues to be the most dangerous move you can make behind the wheel.
I can understand it because there are people that don't pay attention. I definitely look because I've almost hit someone before and it was scary. So it scarred me into looking every time.
Just saying. Just saying.
It is ridiculous that we have to wait like a minute and a half for someone to back up.
Well, listen, if you wait a minute and a half, somebody didn't know what they're doing.
Well, that was my gripe the other day. I don't mind you backing into your spot if you know how to do it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
don't give me one of these forward, back, forward, back,
like
forward,
Austin
back
Powers.
people.
And don't park on the line either. If you're going to back in,
listen.
you need to take the middle of the spot.
I am definitely that guy that if I notice my car is too close to one of the lines, I'm going to get back in and we're going to do it again. So,
I'm waiting even more.
At this point, you should have already passed. I got out the car. I checked it. Like, you should have already passed at that point.
But I think it's pretty incredible that we are now on day 3 of this topic.
I just thought I wanted to bring those numbers.
You did research. You
I
went
did
home
some
and did
research.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
I found
love
this
it.
for you.
And you know what I found, Chris? We are by far in the minority from the people that I've talked to.
We are in the minority,
Yeah.
but if you walk outside right now, down in our parking lot, you'll see that 90% of the cars pull straight in.
Yeah, but that's because
There's very few that back in.
I'm looking. I see 6 cars in the parking lot, and all 6 are forward.
Right.
So that proves our point.
That's the research you're going to do is check
Look
6
out the
cars.
window and see 6 cars.
Well, that's all I can see right now.
Our parking lot isn't conducive for. You know,
Okay.
I'm
All
just saying, it's not a great parking lot for it.
For backing
You
in.
got a lot of weird things going on here. You got
Okay.
a circle parking lot. You got. I mean, this is a lot. It's a lot.
Okay. Where you park, it is kind of tight.
Yeah,
but
I still get it in
these other
reverse.
spots out here are not that tight.
Yeah, and this is
And
also
still somehow people
the
park on the
spots
line.
where I was about to say this is where you get all the bad parking at too.
Someone said 5 to 15 seconds to back up. I think it's at least 30.
A good driver is 5 to 15 seconds.
It's at least 30.
5 to 15.
5. What are you, Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, man.
I mean, get out of here.
5 is too quick.
5 to 15, he said, or she
There's-
said.
Nobody's going
He or she.
5. Please.
I don't know about 5.
Can't go
15
5.
maybe if you are like one of the best backer uppers of all time. So, okay, Tony, we're gonna have to go down to the parking lot and we're gonna have to time
just saying.
Tony pulling into a spot backwards.
We've got time right now. I mean, there's nothing going on in sports.
How about this?
Is there any way
Chris?
you can bring the YouTube cameras down?
I can
with us.
I can. You man it. I'll call into the station and we'll go downstairs. No, I'm just kidding. One of these days, though, maybe tomorrow when Tony pulls into.
I'll let you guys know when I'm on my way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Man.
I was embarrassed because I was the first one to bring this up that I didn't like people backing into spots, and then Tony quickly chimed in and said, "But I do back into spots." So that's where this all started, and it's gotten crazily out of control.
Yes.
But thankfully, it replaced the Daily Gambit, at least for one segment. But we're going to have to face the music, guys. We just are. It was a bad night last night, and maybe we can do better tonight. Some interesting contests ahead. Let's you want to take a little break before, because we're not going to be able to squeeze it in right here, Skraby.
Sure.
All right, we'll take our break, then we'll come back with the bad news that the Gambit has to offer on Gwynn and Chris.
Hold on.
All right.
What were we holding on for?
Traffic's not ready, so we'll have
It's
traffic for you
3:12.
at
That's
the
how many
end
times have
of
you
the
said
break.
you got to get out at 12?
We'll have traffic for you at the end of the break.
All the sports, music.
It is Thursday. Sorry. It's my turn.
Thursday.
We didn't get to our daily gambit last segment, so I won't distract you guys with backing into parking spots this time. Let's jump right into it.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
Daily Gambit is our daily sports betting segment here on Gwynn and Chris. Please, everybody, gamble responsibly because we are proving to you how hard it is to gamble in the last couple weeks. The Daily Gambit today is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Now, last night, Purdue played against Northwestern, that's right. I know that Purdue won in overtime, but they did not cover. I forgot.
They won by 9 in overtime, which was quite a big spread.
Because they were 13.5 point favorites in the game. So Northwestern did cover here, and we all chose Purdue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Northwestern had won the first game. We didn't think they'd give Purdue another good game, but they did exactly that.
They did.
It's funny because you brought it up during the actual game last night. The foul differences.
It was unbelievable.
And the coach certainly brought it up after the game for Northwestern.
Northwestern's coach, I think it's Chris Collins. It's Doug Collins' son. But he wasn't too pleased. I believe the foul disparity was 46 free throw shots for Purdue and 8 for Northwestern.
And that got better because there was 0 at one point.
Yes, it was.
Late in the second, like
46-8.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and Northwestern still took the game to overtime against the number 2 team in the nation.
No call.
What does that tell you about how great Purdue must not be?
This is, I mean, I hate to say, I don't hate to say it because it's great for all of us. This is one of those years where it seems like the tournament could be bonkers.
And the thing about the tournament that you are going to have trouble judging is that all of those games are played on neutral sites.
Right.
So all of a sudden now the officials are in 50-50. There's not going to be advantages, not going to be any advantages with hometown refs.
There just doesn't seem to be any one great standout team at this point.
There really isn't. UConn's on top,
right?
And they are till somebody knocks them off, but they're certainly beatable. I know one of the refs last night in the Purdue Northwestern game, though, was one of the refs in the Aztec Final Four game last year. I recognized him.
Just off of facial recognition?
Just off of facial recognition, man. I remember that.
Stuff.
I remember that Lamont Butler shot. I watch it every day, Tony. Every other day.
And I don't think that he's joking when he says
I believe it.
He's not.
He's not. Next one, New Mexico, 11-point favorites over Boise State. You
This
guys
was
chose
a
New
stunner
Mexico.
here.
I chose Boise State. Boise State did win 86-78.
On the road at the pit. Good for Boise State. Nice win for them.
You tried to warn me yesterday when you told me about it not what it was. I think the point I was making is that it wasn't in Boise or it wasn't at, I think something you said yesterday, but
Skraby said that Boise has similar altitude to Albuquerque.
Oh, that's what you said.
I don't know that that's factual, but he went with it.
Yes. Next game, NBA, Denver Nuggets at the OKC Thunder. We all chose OKC. They were 6-point favorites. They did win, but they only won by 5 points, 105-100.
Another loss.
Here's one that we did, Iowa women's basketball. They were favorites in the game by 35.5 points against Northwestern. Chris and I chose Northwestern thinking, that's a lot of points. And this is where the odds makers really impressed me because Iowa won the game, but they only won. They won the game by 36 points.
Yeah. Odds makers were right on it.
Yeah, they were.
And Tony picked Iowa. That was his.
I can't believe it.
This was a day to do the opposite of what everybody else was doing.
Yeah,
because that's how we all got our one win is by doing something different than everybody else did.
Now the Kings in hockey -1.5 on the puck line over the Nashville Predators. Chris chose the Kings. Tony and I chose Nashville. Kings win 4-2. So that one hits for Chris.
That was my only win.
The first time I don't pick the Kings, they finally win.
They found a way.
Now, real quick, we talked about this guy in the Daily Gambit or the Big Five a little while ago, but it was the former Alabama baseball coach, Brad Bohannon. He tried to bet on his team.
Oh,
or
that's
against
right.
his team. I'm sorry.
This is last year, wasn't it?
He was fired in May of
Tried to
2023.
bet against his team?
Yes.
He.
Well, we didn't know at the time it was a betting against his team. No, we just knew he bet on the team, and they had to fire.
So he tried to get a friend to make some bets at the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. The friend attempted to make a $100,000 wager against Alabama. The sports book was like, "This is weird. We're only going to allow you to do 15,000 against Alabama, and no more," because he tried to make several different bets. So this is what flagged the people to go and look into this Alabama coach. Well, he has received a 15-year show clause penalty from the NCAA. Now I had to go look up what show clause means.
He can't be around it.
Yeah, it's administrative punishment ordering that any NCAA penalties imposed on a coach found to have committed major rules violations will stay in effect against that coach for a specified period of time. And if they go work somewhere else within the NCAA, it follows them around. So 15 years, no coaching for this coach.
Yeah,
right
he's
here.
lucky he got only 15.
Is he not in jail?
I'm not seeing that. He got Alabama baseball got a $5,000 fine and was placed on probation for 3
finding
years.
them anymore wouldn't do them any good because they don't have it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about him going to jail.
That's
but
so in May when we actually did this on our show. We talked about this on our show.
Yeah.
We didn't know at the time that he was betting against his team.
Yeah, we just
This
knew.
cat was betting. He tried to put 100 racks against his own team.
The suspicious activity included
That's
the bettor's
crazy.
insistent demeanor to get the bet placed in statements to sportsbook staff that the bet was for sure going to win. Sounds like this guy picked an idiot to make his bet for him.
Clearly, hey, I got 100 grand on Alabama losing
Against-
this game.
yeah,
I
yeah.
can guarantee they're going to lose.
For sure going to lose.
Put this down. It's a winner.
That is crazy.
Good thing about the Alabama athletic director, he just hires people of high quality in every sport. The basketball idiot, what's his name?
The basketball idiot.
Yeah, the basketball guy at Alabama
Oh,
who shoves
he
students and
did the
let's
the
what is
lightweight
it? Let's
shove.
convicted
Oates.
criminals play.
Something Oaks.
Nate Oates.
Nate
Nate
Oates.
Oates. Yeah, he's
It
he's
gets
a winner.
worse, guys. I just clicked on the link to actually read a little bit of the report. And the suspicious activity also included the bettor showing sportsbook staff messages from the
Oh
coach
my
and
God.
explaining the messages were the coach informing the bettor that Alabama was scratching its starting pitcher before the game and before Bohannon alerted LSU.
Was everybody drunk?
This may have been the dumbest friend he could have picked.
This is the guy you send to
Make
put
a
a
bet.
$100,000 bet
Yeah.
on a team that you're about to coach to lose?
Yeah.
They always say criminals aren't very smart.
They-
That's how they all get
They
caught.
definitely
True.
do say that.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Now that we're past that, this guy must be like,
That is absurd.
Really? You
The
went
whole
and
thing.
showed text messages to the staff about this? You kidding?
Come look at the text messages the coach showed me that he
Yeah.
sent me.
Yeah. All right,
Gosh.
Chris, what do you got?
I got a couple of games for us tonight. One you'll enjoy, Skraby. USD playing at USF college
Oh.
basketball tonight. Dons and Toreros. Dons are home and favored by right. Dons are favored by 18.5 big ones.
Ooh, wow.
I'll take Steve. I can't. Steve Lavin's team is really not yet. Oh, come on, Steve. You can do it. USD plus the points. Tony.
Let's go, Dons.
Gonna take USF.
I'm going to go
You're
USF
going
too,
with your guys.
baby.
All right, we'll get one more local game. Cal State Northridge, otherwise known as CSUN now. I don't know if you guys know that.
It's called, it's what now? CSUN?
CSUN, Cal State University Northridge. But they
CSUN.
like to be referred to as CSUN. They don't like when you call them Cal State Northridge anymore.
Okay.
So for that, we'll call them Cal State Northridge. They're taking on UC San Diego tonight. The Tritons are home and favored by 11, Tony.
I'll take the Tritons.
Tritons have been good this year. Real good. I'll take them. Scrape?
I'll
going
take
with
the Titans
CSUN?
too. No, I just don't like them because
don't wanna
of
be a
their
contrarian?
Like because they
No,
ask.
because their insistence on
Oh,
CSUN.
yeah. Reading game notes before college basketball games, they're not the only ones that make demands on what you call them.
Call them.
Yeah, University of Pennsylvania came to play the Aztec women. You can call us the University of Pennsylvania only one time. After that, we must be called Penn. I'm like, really?
How are they policing
How are
that?
you going to... Yeah, exactly.
They
Really?
would- just
You're
on
keeping
that basis alone, you'd be University of Pennsylvania
I know.
the entire game.
I know. They're not the only ones. UNLV is another one.
Start making up my own names. You of Penn.
Right. UNLV doesn't like running Rebels for its women's team.
Oh,
Can't call them that.
just for the women's team. They don't want it for the women's team.
Not for the women's team.
What do they want to be called?
UNLV or Rebels only. That's it. Anyway, there's a lot of teams like this.
That's crazy.
Speaking of women's basketball, number 1 South Carolina at Auburn tonight. I don't know how good Auburn is, but they're 27.5 points they're getting against the number 1 Gamecocks. Skraby.
I've seen South Carolina play. I've seen the coach. She's very serious, and she will step on the throat. So I'm going to say South Carolina.
South Carolina going to give all those points.
What was the points again?
27.5.
27.5.
I still think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I do too.
You're both going with South Carolina.
Going with South Carolina, and I'm saying there's a couple dunks in this game.
Dunks.
Oh, wow.
You're feeling that even. I'll take Auburn. Why not? Be the kid.
Auburn.
Skraby says it right.
Skraby Auburn.
What am I this week? Thank you. Lakers are getting 15 at Celtics tonight, Tony.
Oh my gosh.
Tony, do you even
It's a
want
good sound effect.
Yeah.
I'm not betting on this game.
You just want
Oh,
no action for
No
you?
action for me on
NA. All right, Tony gets an NA. Scrape, you want to bet on this game? Celtics
I'll say
15 over the Lakers?
I'll say the Lakers keep it close.
Really?
Oh, keep it close. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're taking the points?
So maybe they won't win, but
I don't know.
15
I
points
popped
in the
off
NBA.
earlier how they have no shot, so I got to go with Boston. Back myself up on that one. All right, that's all I got tonight.
All right.
So you guys can see if we can get some wins. I didn't give our records for the week because it's best left unsaid.
I think I like that.
Yeah,
idea.
You do. You do like it if you knew what our records were. All right. Should I give away these tickets real quick, Scrape?
Sure.
Want to have a minute?
Yeah, go for it.
2 tickets to see San Diego State play Utah State. College basketball at Viejas Arena Saturday. This is a big one. I mean, Utah State's the number 1 team in this conference right now. Aztecs, of course, have been the number 1 team throughout the years. So it's a showdown game. Tickets are on sale now at goaztecs.com, or you can win a pair right now. Utah State has lost 9 consecutive first-round games in NCAA tournament play. Who's the last team Utah State beat in an NCAA tournament game? If you know that, you deserve to get a couple of tickets to see the Aztecs take on Utah State on Saturday. First person with the correct answer at 833-288-0973 will cash in on the tickets.
We've got a 30-mile zone headed your way. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
Nicholas was all over that trivia question. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. 3:37 is the time.
Chris thought he was stumping somebody today.
I thought for sure it would take at least a couple of minutes for somebody to look it up online.
Not so much.
Nicholas had no such issue. I mean, as soon as the question was out of my mouth, he was on the phone with the answer. The last team, really the only team Utah State has beaten in NCAA tournament play was the Ohio State University Buckeyes back in 2001. Utah State has lost 19 of its last 20 NCAA tournament games. You can yell that at the Aggies when they come out on the floor Saturday at Viejas Arena to take on the Aztecs. Nicholas will be there with you as he wins a couple of tickets. If you want to go to the game, tickets are on sale now at goaztecs.com. Nicely done, Nicholas. We've got a 30-mile zone coming up for you. Some of the fun stories in the world of sports. Are we allowed to say that word, Skraby, the one that Barkley used? I don't see why not. I mean, they had a television show named that.
That's true. You're right. Go ahead.
Charles Barkley calls NFL fans who hate on Taylor Swift, "You're either a loser or a jackass." I just think Barkley's the funniest guy ever.
Yeah.
I heard a pretty decent explanation of why someone doesn't want to see Taylor Swift near the NFL at all.
By the way, did we talk about this at 15 to 20 seconds of actual real?
We talked about it yesterday.
Did we talk about that?
44 seconds.
44 seconds. Okay.
Yes. But I heard a decent explanation, and it's
wait, that was Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about Chris was asking about how much actual real time action on
action is there in football game.
15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
15 to 20 minutes of actual play.
Yes.
Right.
In baseball, it's like 9 minutes.
It's not that much in baseball.
I get that doesn't surprise me.
But the explanation was this: Taylor Swift is worldwide. She is probably the number one act right now in the world. And so she can have all that. It was this person's solace was the NFL, where they would not see Taylor Swift or hear about Taylor Swift or be anywhere near Taylor Swift. It was this person's like place to go. And now it's been infiltrated.
I don't either, because when I walk around town, I don't see a Taylor Swift billboard every time I turn the corner.
No, but you get in your car and the first song might be hers. Or
not
you might
my
hear
car.
Really? I'm about to say the NFL fan base, they think you're listening to the same radio station. That's
a lot of daughters.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I mean,
Taylor Swift is everywhere. You cannot go anywhere.
She's not everywhere, though.
She is everywhere.
I don't see Taylor very much, other than the NFL, actually.
There you go.
But I'm saying I don't see her anywhere else.
I see her on TV almost every night.
Where?
Like Entertainment Tonight. So one of those things.
No, please. They're still stuck on the Kardashians, those people.
Well, they need to get with the times, because no one cares about them anymore.
I
don't
say
know.
that.
I know. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that.
Don't say that.
You're right.
Well, all right. Let's check some traffic, and then Skraby will get to the rest of the 30-mile zone.
Can't wait.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
A lot of accidents, a lot of flooding around the county, guys. Yeah, give yourself plenty of extra time. Have those headlights on so you're more visible to other drivers. Got a two-car collision on southbound 15 at Gopher Canyon. It's in the center divide. El Camino Real on-ramp to eastbound 78 is closed at this time, all due to flooding. Solo spin out, east 56 right at the south 15 connector. That has been moved over to the right shoulder. Westbound 52 right at the southbound 15 connector. Vehicle hit the guardrail. And northbound 5 before the 52, got a solo spin out in the center divide. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
If you don't know your sports gossip, can you really call yourself a sports fan? It's time to bring together sports and celebrity gossip. We call it the 30-mile zone, mainly so we don't get sued by the real company. On 97.3 The Fan.
All right. 30-mile zone. Today, we are going to start with Mark Andrews of the Baltimore Ravens. We mentioned it a little bit ago. I have a question specifically for you guys in the Big Five, but here is the story behind what happened with Mark Andrews. And someone actually tweeted this out or X this out, this whole story. Mark Andrews did not want this attention, but he was on a flight from Baltimore to Phoenix, a Southwest Airlines flight. That surprises
It's my type
me.
of guy.
This
It's
really
my type
surprises
of
me.
guy.
Like, I didn't think he would have a
What, you
private
thought,
jet.
PJ? Yeah, come on,
No,
man.
I would think maybe first class on like United or Delta or something
He
like
likes
that.
a bag of peanuts just like the rest of us.
You could get that in first class. But anyway, this does tell me a lot about Mark Andrews. He's just another dude. So apparently they were flying and they were in their cruising altitude, and a woman in the back became distressed. And so people were starting to come to her aid because she had a medical issue. And I guess what happened was the flight attendants asked anyone on the plane, a doctor, anybody have any medical history, training, whatever.
Anybody ever caught a pass from Lamar Jackson?
And Mark Andrews stood up and said, I have.
That's me.
Well, no, Mark Andrews actually stood up because he is a type 1 diabetic.
He recognized this.
And he
symptoms.
recognized her symptoms. And so he brought his testing kit over and he tested to see what was going on. And yes, indeed, her blood sugar, I don't know if it was low. I don't know the exact terminology.
Whatever happens.
So they did the finger prick test, and he ended up giving her orange juice, got her sugars up, and she was able to get through the remaining 90 minutes of the flight. And if they did not recognize this, she could have gone into a really bad situation and maybe not even made it down to the ground. So
made it home.
Yeah, made it home.
Shout out to Mark Andrews.
Good for
just
him. And
being
then
a
he
good
just
Samaritan.
walked away,
Yeah.
right? He didn't like get off the plane and call a press conference.
No, we wouldn't have known about it if somebody who was there didn't X about it.
Yeah, that's exactly
we would
right.
never know. They said he just walked off like
for
nothing
him.
ever happened.
See, my question in the Big Five is going to surround if he doesn't want recognition, should we give him recognition? So we'll talk about that
That's
in the
great.
Big Five.
Skraby, thought provoking today, huh?
You know, when we have nothing to talk about, I
gotta
have
dig
to
deep.
come
You
up
gotta
with
dig deep.
something. So Patrick Mahomes, he had his most expensive jersey ever, game-worn jersey, sell in an auction. And you would think this would be like an AFC Championship game, a Super Bowl game. Someone paid $213,000 for this jersey. And it looks good. It's dirty. It looks like a game-worn jersey. You guys will never believe, but this is just a random week that sold. Week 5 of either this season or last season. During week 5 of the 2022 season, when they hosted the Raiders at Arrowhead Stadium, 32 bids on this, $213,500 just for a game-worn jersey of week 5 of 2022.
Who put this up for sale?
That's a good question.
Because
an auction company called Golden.
And how do they get these jerseys, Tony?
They buy them.
They buy them from the team.
They'll buy them from the team.
The team sells it to an auction house
for sure.
Really?
Well, maybe not the team. I'm saying like a player may auction it off.
I mean, how would you get Patrick Mahomes' game-used uniform? Because he's got to give it back to the equipment guy after the game, no?
Here, I'll tell you this. Like, for instance, the Padres will, they have the shirts off your back the last game of the season, right?
Okay.
Where they give away the jersey. Or they done that in the past.
Right.
Teams give away uniforms or for different auction items, things of that nature. How this one got into circulation, I'm not sure, but there are so many ways now that these type of companies can come across these jerseys.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes wears a different jersey every week?
Yes.
I do.
Every week.
They may even cut it off
What
of
if
him
he's
sometimes.
What if he's like, superstitious and wants to wear the same uniform that he played in the
I'm
week
sure
before?
if he wanted to.
Isn't he the guy that has worn the same pair of underwear every game since he was started in
was that a commercial?
That's a little more personal.
Yes, it is. But I think if he's that superstitious, I wouldn't think he'd want to change his jersey.
I don't know that you can just continue to wear the same jersey.
I think they're too beat up, and those things are pretty stretched
they
out
take
and
a beating.
destroyed.
They could even cut it off of him because of his dad bod,
Oh, look at you.
No, I am full Patrick Mahomes dad bod fan right here. And I'm not a fan of his dad. Never mind. All right.
Fluffy.
The jersey does look cool, though. It has like grass stains all over it. Apparently, he threw for 4 touchdowns this day, and it was one of his top 5 highest passer ratings of his career.
OG Pat had the special blend cigar. He said, he had that Lamar Jackson blend. He said,
okay,
after
his
the game.
dad. Yeah.
Oh, the Lamar
when he was
Jackson.
smoking the game-winning cigar.
Wow.
Right.
Did you guys hear about this? We haven't brought this up, but I've been keeping a close eye on this. But when the Chiefs played the Dolphins, and it was like -7 degrees and wind chills over -20, have you guys heard about this watch party in Kansas City that turned pretty terrible? 3 of this guy's friends. So a guy, Jordan Willis, invited friends over.
Wait, is this the 3 dudes that ended up dead in his backyard? I did see this.
So there's an update, and I wasn't necessarily a fan of posting this as TMZ Sports did, but Jordan Willis invited friends over to his Kansas City area home on that night in early January, and then I think it was like 2 days, but he did not see that they were his friends were
in
not
his backyard,
found.
right?
Yes, and so people were trying to find him, calling the police, calling different friends. No one could find him.
They called him. He said he was asleep.
Yeah, he didn't know. So he goes outside, and his friends, all 3 of them, passed away from exposure to the cold. Now, he has been saying, well, there's no arrest or anything like that.
There's a lot more to this story, if I'm not mistaken, because I've seen it on CNN. Yeah. I've seen it on national news. Everyone's interviewing family members.
Because they think
big deal.
They think there's some wrongdoing in there, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So today, or yesterday, Jordan Willis announced that he is going to be going into treatment for substance abuse. Now, this is making the internet kind of crazy because it's kind of an admission of guilt to some people that your substance abuse led to the death of your friends. So why are you making this admission? Other people are saying he's just going to rehab so that this story goes away.
I mean, maybe that also had to do something with
I don't believe the story's
their
going away. I mean, we got the national news media covering this and trying to find out what happened to these
I kind of caught in the kind of joined the story in the middle, and they had the 3 guys' heads circled on a picture that all 5 of them were on. And it didn't really give you any insight to where it was going. So the guy's house that they found the friends at, he's headed to rehab.
Yes, but get this. It gets even deeper.
Oh boy.
One of the men who passed away had connection to pharmaceuticals, which
that's what I'm getting
shed
at.
some light. One of them also had an active pharmacist license, which was issued last year, set to expire in May. So no one's really sure what happened, but we're starting to put the pieces together that there were drugs involved in this.
And it may just be
for somebody to be outside and freeze to death without knowing it, I'm going to take a wild guess that there was some pharmaceuticals involved.
Yeah.
Just going to take a wild stab at that.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it on the news, they were making it seem like my guy
did it.
Like he had something to do with
locked them out of the house and wouldn't let them leave the backyard.
Here's one of the theories: is that same thing? They went outside to like smoke a cigarette or something, or go to the car. The door locked behind them. This guy passed out, couldn't hear them trying to get in the house, and maybe their keys were inside, and so they didn't realize that you could die within like 10 to 15 minutes of being in negative temperatures like that.
His door got to get kicked down. Something's got to get thrown.
Yeah, I don't know what. I'm not just standing outside.
That goes back to where.
Also, when you're really intoxicated, you cannot tell how cold you actually are. So all of these things may have factored into this.
Yeah, you know how booze makes you feel warmer when you're not actually warmer.
The reason I'm not so happy about the reporting of this story is just I feel like if this guy really does have substance abuse issues, him going to rehab is not anyone's business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, once you've had 3 people die on your lawn,
I guess it becomes
everybody's business.
Right, I can get behind that a little bit. Another story. Hold on. I haven't done my stings yet, guys.
That's what those are called?
Stings, yeah. Another story. This is not sports related. Well, it's kind of sports related. It's skiing. But there was someone who captured themselves skiing down a hill in Utah, and an avalanche happened. So this person has a helmet camera, and you see them take a turn, and then you see the sheets of snow starting to fall down the hill, and then you see him or her with the sheets of snow going over them. They ended up being okay. The video is just an incredible video of someone caught in an avalanche. And if you want to Google this, Davis Gulch Avalanche is what the video is called on YouTube. Steve Gorley was caught in the middle of it. It is scary stuff.
Yeah, man. This is why I don't like messing with the ocean. I don't like messing with mountains of snow.
Tony wants to be on a good altitude.
Yeah, man. This
Good altitude.
Yeah.
There's too many freak things like that can happen, man.
Too many. You're right. I mean, this guy said he's not going to be doing this anytime soon.
I bet.
You know, I've watched like an Avalanche show before, like on Avalanche Survival, and what you do, you're supposed to make yourself big so that when the snow settles, you're going to have a little bit of room. But I feel like I'm dead at that point if I'm covered in the snow.
How do you?
You're supposed to make yourself big,
Like,
so when
how
the
do you
snow
make your-
settles, you have
some
more room
room?
to move.
More
because
room to what?
to
Where you
move
go, you're
or
buried
dig
under
out,
10 feet of
because
snow.
sometimes what happens is the snow catches you and you are stuck like carbonite, which is terrifying to be stuck in this avalanche.
God,
How do you
But
know?
It's giving me the heebie-jeebies.
how do I know?
just
Because this
thinking
show was like detailing guys that have like survived this, but now they have this kind of a not parachute or a buoy where if you get caught in an avalanche, you pull the
that?
cord and the buoy goes up to the top, and then someone can either find you or you can climb yourself out if you're not in a terrible spot. But that's my worst nightmare is carbonite after a
That's not my
avalanche.
worst nightmare.
That's not your worst nightmare? What's your worst nightmare?
Getting my foot caught in the drain at the bottom of a pool.
That used to be mine back in the day, right there. That's a legit
Wait,
one.
say that one more time.
Getting your foot caught in the drain at the bottom of a pool.
I feel like that's an urban legend.
That's why I kind of let it go. 'cause
I
thought it
remember
was
an
true.
episode of Baywatch with this where I'm serious. Like someone jumped in the pool to get their ring, and then they ended up almost dying on the bottom of the pool. And one of the Baywatch people had to jump in and give them CPR and all this stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
scares me.
Anything where my breath is, my oxygen is being kept from me is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
So, Chris, you got any?
I do.
Okay.
Real quick. I think it's pretty amazing. Do you know who, I have to get it called up here. Do you know who Paige Van Zandt is, Skraby?
Yes, I do.
You do?
She's a former UFC fighter.
MMA star. She's also an OnlyFans model.
Yes, she is.
She got an
Did you know that,
eye-popping...
Skraby? I did. I saw
You
this
did?
story.
Oh, you did. Okay. All right, Tony. She got a request from one of her OnlyFans fans offering her $50,000.
Yes.
What the fan wanted was the next time she got her hair cut to send the scraps to him.
50
Yeah.
grand for this, too.
50,000.
Did she do it? I didn't click on the article.
I don't know.
I mean,
that's weird.
Yeah, but I've
To each his
learned. I have learned not through my own.
Yeah, sure, Scrape.
But there are some weird interests out there.
To each his own.
To each his own is correct.
Apparently, according to the story, she's sitting on the fence. She hasn't decided yet.
Just do
whether
it
she's
for
gonna risk-
50,000, and she just has to cut her hair and send it.
You know, but it kind of gives the person a little squeamish into her.
Yeah, that's
It might,
You know?
it might spiral to something else.
Yeah, that's the
true.
thing I'd worry about.
Someone in the chat said Skraby has $50K to buy hair. This was not me. This was not me. I
That
promise.
segment was brought to you by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla. For dining or takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com.
All right, Chris versus the fans, 833-288-0973. Get in line. That's next on 97.3 The Fan.
about 30. I only ordered 4x4s.
Only a 4x4, man.
And Chris Ello.
I am just as bad of a pig as you are when it comes to eating.
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports. Yes! With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Somehow we have made it to the 4 o'clock hour. Not quite sure how we've done it.
How are we going to make it through the 6 o'clock hour?
We got
That's the
another
question.
2 hours to try to, I don't know, finagle our way through. We'll figure it out somehow, some way. This segment, however, is for you guys. Chris versus the fans. 833-288-0973. 2 tickets to Tom Kiefer and LA Guns on April 11th at Westgate Las Vegas Resort Casino. It's an electrifying night of rock and roll as 2 icon bands, Tom Kiefer and LA Guns, come together to perform live, as I said, on April 11th, Westgate International Theater at Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Get tickets now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, Skraby is feverishly working to get some questions on there because they got dwindled down over the week so far.
Yeah, I sat down to do it this morning and wrote like one and then forgot. So I got some in there though, and they're decent questions.
We will have some San Diego State guests on tomorrow. Hopefully next week. Want to get to Padres. Want to get the Aztecs baseball coach.
New coach.
Yes,
new coach this year for the Aztecs,
and he is, I think, going to do a phenomenal job for the Aztecs. They get started here pretty quickly.
College baseball done February is usually about right, isn't it? Or a little late February.
Yeah, no, that's exactly
right.
About around this month, later this month, I think.
Yeah.
Is the opening series. As we know, spring training is around the corner. Soon to be getting to that. Padres still have some holes to fill, if you will, but how they get filled, I don't think very many people know at this point.
No. I got something coming up after Chris versus the fans that I think people will enjoy.
Okay.
It was put together by something called New Arena. It's the 25 greatest baseball players of all time. Almost impossible to make a list like this, but they did a pretty good job.
They did a pretty good job?
They did a pretty good job. There are 4 active players on the list. I'll let you think about who those might be as we get into Chris versus the fans.
So real quick, Chris Acker tomorrow.
Right.
San Diego State basketball. Sean Cole, Padres San Diego State baseball coach, hopefully sometime next week.
We're supposed to have Sean Lewis, the Aztec football coach, on as well in the next week or so. I've been working on that.
We're going to get the head honchos on here.
We're going to get some, the
big
take care of you Aztec fans.
Real quick, Adam on the chat sent us a message saying, one of my best friends listens every day and has a daughter who's 5 years old. She loves the Muppets, and the first time she heard Skraby's voice on the radio, she was like, "It's Fozzie Bear." So I guess
was this
sound like
was
Fozzie
this when
Bear.
you were impersonating one of the many Chris Ello voices, or
No, I think
this is just your normal voice?
You know, my voice gets many different.
I find that to be ironic because for so long you've been giving Patrick Mahomes such a hard time about being Kermit. And now,
hey everybody, look at my dad bod.
Now your natural voice is who?
Fozzie Bear. I think he says, doesn't he go waka waka waka?
You're asking me or telling me? I haven't watched Sesame Street recently.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
All
That
right.
is a good story.
Let's get to some Chris versus the fan.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know Gen 4.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. The rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question, or you win if you're a first-time
player.
player.
Let us know. You get the first question for free today, and we will be very ready for the buzzer if you take too long. So there you go.
It would really means Skraby will be ready for the buzzer if you take too long.
3 seconds
Bingo.
to announce whether or not you're a first-time player. 10 seconds to answer a question, and Skraby means it.
Thank you, Chris.
First contestant of the day, Jacob. Welcome to the show, Jacob.
Jacob.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Jacob. You ready to
I
roll?
am not a first timer, but I am a player.
Very good.
That's the first time
Very
I've heard
nice.
that one.
Very
Nice
nice,
job,
Jacob.
nice job.
Here we go. First question. What player won AL MVP in 2023?
Here's that. Last year.
I do not recall.
Stay there. Maybe Chris doesn't know.
I don't do well on recent questions, but I think that was Shohei Ohtani last year.
Shohei Ohtani.
Sorry,
That's
Jacob.
correct. Sorry, Jacob.
Sorry, Jacob.
We move to our next contestant, Eric. Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday, Eric.
Happy Thursday, Waka Waka, y'all.
Waka waka, y'all. Here we go. First question. Who was named to the cover of MLB The Show this year?
Ronald Acuna Jr.
What was the answer?
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Stay there. I don't know that Chris remembers this. He's
Somebody that's not Acuna Jr. It was somebody not as good as Ronald Acuna Jr.
okay.
It's good news for Eric. I can't remember. So move on.
It was a junior.
Yes.
It was Vlad.
Vlad.
Yeah,
Vlad
I didn't
Jr.
come up with that.
You're
Yeah.
still
All
there.
right, very good, Eric.
Eric, you're on to the next round. Here we
Take
go.
advantage of your opportunity.
Question number 2. The last Winter Olympics held in the U.S. of A. was in what city?
Still got you.
Lake Placid? I can't remember. That seems too long ago.
They did host an Olympics, Winter Olympics. Not the last one, though.
Where's Lake Placid?
My
New
wife's
York.
cousin lives there in Park City, where they still have the Olympic skiing venues. So I think Salt Lake City is the answer to this, unless somebody was after them.
Park
Sorry
City's a
about that, Eric.
beautiful place, too, by the way.
Sweet
Yeah.
indeed. They
I
still have
haven't
the
been there in a
ski
while.
jumps and everything.
Yeah, they do.
They're still there. Like you can go see them anytime.
Maybe 5 years ago now, 6 years ago, my daughter went up there for a tournament, and we
Okay.
went to the
Went to
facility.
the
yeah.
place, yeah. Where they
Did you
have all
do
that
ski
stuff.
jumping?
No.
Did you do luging?
I just finished telling you I don't want to be on the slopes with an
That's
avalanche.
true.
That hap-
Well, yeah, I mean, they're not going to put you on an
I mean,
avalanche.
it was summertime anyway, so it wouldn't really matter.
All
But
right.
all right, let's go to our next contestant, Christian. Welcome to the show. Happy Thursday to you.
Hey, guys. Happy Thursday.
Hey, Christian.
Happy Thursday.
First question. Billiard and snooker tables are usually which color?
Billiard, snooker, green.
Got it.
Nice work.
job.
And I used to play pool often.
Were you a pool?
I was all right.
You
I
all
mean,
right?
I wasn't great, but whenever there was the end of the round, the game, when you had the 8 ball or something you had to sink, my buddy would always go, "A lot of green, Chris. A lot of green between the cue ball and the 8 ball."
I
Trying
can
to
imagine-
Trying to psych you out
Yeah,
a little bit.
lot
huh?
of green.
I can imagine Chris being a pool shark.
I was
Like,
all right.
I was
wasn't a
gonna
shark.
say, pool is one of the sports that you can hustle somebody pretty
Yeah,
easily.
well, I
be like,
didn't-
I'm not that great.
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't do that.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
You
Here
know,
we
like
go.
Uncle Phil that one time in Fresh Prince. Do you remember that episode?
Oh, that's right. When he was
Will-
just serving those dudes.
Yeah, that was a great
Yeah.
episode.
All right. Question number 2. Former head coach Marvin Lewis lost a playoff game in how many consecutive years?
Can I know what team he was head coach of?
The Bengals.
I'm going to give you a little help there. Nice.
4.
He never won one, right? I know that. That's not. You're not going to tell me whether that's right or not, but I know he never won one. I just don't know how many years ago. 5?
5.
I hate number questions. I'm
No.
sorry, Christian. I know.
Sorry,
I know.
Christian.
Sorry,
It was
Christian.
so close.
He went to 7. He never won a playoff game in Cincinnati.
I know the
Yes.
one year that they had the really good team, Carson Palmer tore his knee up against
the first
Steelers.
play of the
Like
game,
first,
practically.
yeah,
Yeah, it was.
it was a wrap.
He was also the defensive coordinator of the great
Ravens
2000
defense. Yeah.
Ravens.
Is that how he got his go
That
at
is.
being
That
head
is.
coach?
All right, here we
My
go.
goodness.
New contestant, Tim. Welcome to the show, Tim.
Hello, this is Tim and Taylor. Second time.
Second. I love it. Tim and Taylor.
Here we
Sounds
go.
like a fan of you.
And we have a kangaroo court that if you need some stuff later on, let me know. I'll call back because we have a
Okay.
little debate between the two of us.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
all right. Here we go. First question. Tim and Taylor. What is a perfect score in gymnastics?
You know, I know. Mary Lou Retton with the first ever perfect 10, my friend.
Nice
That is
job.
correct. Love the energy,
I do
Tim.
If you saw the after-school special, stay away from the Clorox bleach.
Right.
Question number 2. What country hosted the 2014 Winter Olympics?
Oh, you don't know 2014. You weren't alive. I don't expect you to know that. Nagano, I think, was 08. We'll go with Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Why is it not going? Okay, it's not going.
Okay, there it is.
All right. Sorry about that, Tim. Chris?
Well, it certainly wasn't Vancouver. It's not a country.
One Whistler.
It's not a country. 20
Oh,
what?
that's true.
14?
Yeah.
So you're
14.
going back like 3 Olympics. You're not even asking me who the last one was.
Mm-mm.
I'll say Russia.
I knew he
Russia.
was going to know it. I knew it. I knew it.
That is.
All right. Tim.
I have a question.
Okay, what's your
Go ahead,
question?
Taylor. What's your question?
So I got a new bat, and my helmet is pink, but the bat is black and blue.
And she's trying to get me to buy a new helmet, and I told her that if you play hard, it doesn't matter what you wear.
But if you look good, you play good.
I can't disagree with you, Tim.
man.
Taylor wins.
Taylor, do I have to break bread on a new helmet?
I'm gonna leave that one up to you, but she certainly is telling the truth. If you look good, you play good.
That's right.
Hey, the pink
And
helmet
Tony,
is
I
not
told
bad.
her if we call in, Tony will say, if you look good, you play good. Chris Ella will say, get off my lawn. You don't need a new helmet.
Probably both true again.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if you're wearing the pink
And
helmet, though, you
Skraby,
might.
I got 2 tickets to the Super Bowl for sale. I DM'd you. DM me back, buddy. We'll get you in there, bud. First row in the end zone.
Are they $5?
A
I'll look
little
at
bit
my
more than
DMs.
$5 because I paid a little bit more to get them. But
Okay.
maybe we start a GoFundMe was my thought, and then the fans put you there.
I mean, it's a great thought, Tim, but I could not accept it. I could not accept a GoFundMe from people. I couldn't do it. But thank you, Tim. I'm going to check your DM, and thank you, Taylor.
Tim and Taylor.
What I was
thank
going
you.
to say is if you have a pink helmet and no one else has a pink helmet, then you're the coolest one on the team.
Hey,
I don't know.
the
She
young
had
lady
the hammer.
She had
She
it
had
right.
the hammer. If you look good, you play good. I mean, she ended the conversation.
Boom.
I think
Right
she
there.
did.
Yeah.
She did. Thank you for calling Tim and Taylor.
All right.
We need to go to a tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker. Now,
Chris, do you have any randoms?
Let me see who I got today. No, I don't have.
You know what?
anybody
I have a
right now.
random. Andy Dalton.
Andrew Dalton.
Yep.
Of
did you
Texas
spell
Christian
this?
frame.
Is this name right?
Yes.
Ollie?
Yeah.
Okay. Ollie, welcome to the show. Happy Thursday.
Hello, Ollie.
Hey, first time player.
First
Oh.
time player.
Well, then let's go ahead and ask him some questions, sir, so he can use the first time player.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because you wanted to go tiebreaker there, huh?
Yeah, I did.
All right,
It's
here we
okay.
go. Second
Okay.
question.
Gonna give him a chance to win the actual prize.
Yes.
Dylan Cease was drafted in the 6th round of the 2014 MLB draft by what team?
Chicago White Sox.
Stay there.
See, I have no idea then. That's who I would have guessed. Yankees. Oh, come on.
Wow. Okay.
You gave the
Ollie's
look
still
like
there.
I got it right.
It was
I
a team in
worried.
Chicago, but it was the Cubs.
The Cubs. All right.
Yes.
Good for you, Ollie.
You're
You're
on
in
to
the
the next
finals.
round, Ollie. Here we go.
Please that's the first one.
You're in the final.
Oh, this is right out of Skraby's
I'm a Winter Olympic
classification right here.
What are you doing?
Who was the controversial aerial skier who was born in the U.S. but represented China in the Olympic Games?
Ali.
Unfortunately, no.
Close, but no cigar.
Chris is gonna have to remember her name.
No, he's not.
We talked about her a couple times, more than
Aho?
a couple. Aho?
That's all I can come up with.
Was that just?
I don't remember
sounds?
Grace something. Was it Grace something? I don't know.
It
Grace
was-
Aho.
It was not that.
You are a
Wow, there
winner.
you go.
Nice
Ollie,
work,
you
Ollie.
win.
When you hear it, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
Who was it?
Eileen Gu.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Stay there, Ollie.
Ollie, hang on the line. Skraby will come to you in a second. Get your
Good for you, Ollie.
information.
You're a 1,000 hitter, man. First performance gets a win right out of the gate.
Indeed. We got more Gwynn and Chris
I
on the
want
other
to meet
side.
this Aho person.
Stop it.
Right back.
From the 97.3
All right, Gwynn and Chris, 4:23 the time. Good job by Ollie. Took down Christopher Stephans today in his first attempt. He'll have another chance probably tomorrow. Who are the greatest 25 baseball players of all time? I mean, there's no way to actually rate this, is there? But here's one web page's list, and it's pretty good. See if you can think of the 4 active players that are on this. Greatest 25 baseball players of all time. There's 4 guys are active.
Mike Trout.
Of course, Mike Trout. Yes, has to be. Who else that's active would you put on this list?
Active.
Yeah.
4
active players
on the top
25 in the history of baseball. And when I get to the end of this, I think you're going to like the list, Tony, because I know who you would not rate number 1, and they don't rate that person number 1.
Oh, okay. I got you. So Mike Trout.
Trout, one of the top 25 of all time.
Man.
I'm going to guess one that's on that.
Guess one.
And did Ohtani make that list already?
Yep. He's on it already.
Is he number 1?
No, he's not number 1.
Is the Babe number 1?
No.
Okay, he's just finished telling me I was going to like
the list. I just told him he won. Here we go. Christy Mathewson, number 25. Now, they cover everybody. He was in the original Hall of Fame. When Christy Mathewson made the Hall of Fame, there were 5 guys in the Hall of Fame. He was one of them. Here's one of the active ones, number 24, Mookie Betts.
Okay.
Pretty high praise for Mookie Betts, I must say. Albert Pujols, 23. Greg Maddux, certainly one of the greatest pitchers ever.
Where was Betts at?
24.
24.
Randy Johnson, 21.
Word.
20, Joe DiMaggio. Shohei's 19, Trout's 18. There's still one active player left. Sandy Koufax is 17.
Oh, I know who it is.
That ought to give you a hint to who the active player left is.
Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw is 16. Greatest player of all time. Pretty good for Kershaw.
Yeah, man.
Honus Wagner, only guy who has as many batting titles as your dad. I think was it the same?
Honus? Yes.
You and your dad.
No, not me and my dad.
Right, your dad and Honus Wagner.
Yeah.
Sorry, you and your dad.
I wish
Tony
I could.
Gwynn Jr. had 7. Your dad had 7.
I wish I could put.
I don't know how
myself
many
in
Honus
that.
Wagner had.
Is Tony Gwynn on the list?
No.
We'll see, but no. I'd love him to be. Ken Griffey Jr. 14. The Rocket, Roger Clemens. Stan Musial.
Where's Barry Bonds?
Pedro Martinez 11. Mickey Mantle. We get into the top 10. Walter Johnson 9. Lou Gehrig. A-Rod, 7. Can't argue with it if you want to leave the steroids out.
I am loving this list, not caring about the steroids. It's refreshing.
All right. Ty Cobb, 6. Also not caring about people's personality or racism leanings. Number 5, Hank Aaron. I think Hank almost could be higher. I mean, I don't know who I'd put him ahead of, but 5 just seems low for Hank.
Hank doesn't get enough.
He doesn't.
Consideration for greatest of all time.
I know.
Look at his numbers.
Oh, he's the leading RBI guy and the leading home run guy, except for Barry.
Yep.
So
lifetime 300 hitter too, I believe.
That's right. Ted Williams, number 4. Teddy Ballgame, 4.
What about Willie Mays?
Willie Mays, number 3.
Barry Bonds,
Barry's
number
got
1?
to be 1 now.
Little high for Babe Ruth, number 2. We've talked about this in the past, and I think Tony brings up the best reason of all why Babe should not be number 2. But the thing with Babe is he was a great pitcher also.
Right.
And the next one after him was Ohtani. There hasn't been anybody since that could pitch and hit. And yes, Barry Bonds, number 1. So I knew you would like that list, Tony, because of who was number 1.
It's less about, it was more about when Babe played that I think knocks him out of consideration for being greatest of all time. He just didn't play in an era where the best of the best were playing.
The best were not playing. Right. A lot of them were not allowed to play.
Right.
That's why I think Hank should be higher. Willie's up there. I'd put Hank ahead of Willie. I didn't really see either of them play. I know you think I did, Skraby. Willie was probably the superior fielder, but I don't know that Hank was a bad fielder. And Hank Aaron's numbers are just a little better. 755 home runs for Hank, 660 for Willie. I mean, that's 100 different.
Yeah.
And Hank had 300 more RBIs. Anyway, they're both great. So, and you could do this list any number of ways, but I liked it because they included a few active guys, some really old guys, and they went ahead and looked past the steroids, which I don't mind once in a while.
Oh, someone made a good.
I actually heard this from Ken Rosenthal, as he was saying how he pertains to voting for guys and not voting for guys, and he draws the line where, unlike Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, when those rules hadn't been actually put into the game yet in terms of testing, suspensions, A-Rod and let's say a Manny Ramirez both got popped after they brought those rules into play, and they still elected to go out and try to
skirt the rules,
right?
Whereas other guys did something that probably would be frowned upon, but wasn't necessarily against the rules.
Wasn't in the bylaws at that point.
Interesting.
Someone in the chat said no Tom Seaver.
Tom Terrific. Just outside the top 25. He'd be up there. But, I think they got the better pitchers. I mean, Pedro's, I think, the interesting one in that, because he's the second-rated pitcher behind Walter Johnson. I always felt Pedro was that good.
Yeah.
But would you put him ahead of Clemens and Randy Johnson and Maddox and Koufax?
I'd put him. I don't.
But I
think
might
Randy.
think about it.
I think Randy has a better case
over Pedro.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, just for the longevity in which he did it at that level, Rogers had a dip, right? He had those really good years in Boston. Then he dipped off and almost disappeared.
Clemens
reappeared in Toronto,
and he kind of reappeared maybe with some help, or just surmising.
That is what the thought process is. And then went on to become a terrific postseason pitcher for.
I think the funniest guy in the list has got to be Maddox, because if Maddox just walked into the room, you'd think he was selling shoes or something. I mean, he's the least likely looking athlete in the history of sports.
He's
that good.
But that is what makes baseball such a wonderful sport, right? Is that he does look like he works at your Barnes and Noble or your Fry's. He looks like he belongs in one of those spots, but he would carve you up.
Yep.
From that mound.
Love Maddox being on this list. All right. Thought we'd share that one because, well, if we were to catch you up on the news of the day, we wouldn't be able to fill the segment.
And I got a segment in the Skraby show called News of the Day.
Oh, good luck with that today.
I know.
Good luck
with
that
today.
today.
I'm going to have to go to my Roomba files again.
Okay. Well, you're going to have to do a big five before you do that. That's coming up next on Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and
Tune into Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti. Analysis from Boomer, picks from Mike, the biggest stories in the league packed into an hour. Friday nights at 7 p.m. here on 97.3 The Fan, and always live on the free Odyssey app, presented nationally by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it and by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement.
I got to get home.
Why?
I didn't realize I was missing the Pro Bowl games.
Yeah, dude.
We've seen.
Where have you been?
The Pro Bowl games are underway.
Let's be careful. We are carrying the game on our station on Sunday.
Well, they
What
are.
game?
The Pro Bowl game.
Are they still have a
flag
game for
football.
it?
The flag football
the flag
game.
football
We're carrying
game.
that. That's actually going to be. I know it's on the station. I didn't realize they're going to do play-by-play of a flag football game.
I think it's more fun, but I also think they changed the Pro Bowl situation, and so people are just stuck with this flag football for a little bit.
You know what I'm stuck with? You two with this Lakers-Celtic game on behind me.
Well, you put it on. We
Well,
didn't order it.
I'm just saying. You're
a glutton for punishment
I have
here.
to. I had to turn to it. I couldn't not watch it.
Well, I watched the whole. I paid extra money to watch the Dolphins get embarrassed against the Chiefs. Paid for Peacock. I paid for internet on the airplane.
Yes, you did.
I couldn't DVR any of it. I had to sit there for 3 solid hours of agony.
Adam just texted me, our boss, saying that the Pro Bowl is kind of like a talk show during the flag football game. So that makes sense. It's not like
yeah.
And Tua goes back to pass, throws it over.
They're
the
not going to
middle.
do that?
No, I don't think so.
Kevin Harlan's not going to be. He's between the numbers. Inside the 20.
That would be great. He is Houdini. I actually really enjoyed the Pro Bowl last year. I did. I mean, I enjoyed the different events. The actual flag football game got a little bit more competitive than I thought it would.
If I'm not mistaken,
Jalen
Jalen Ramsey took out Tyreek Hill. Didn't know
did?
that. Yeah.
Well, don't do it again this
They
year.
weren't teammates
He's
at that
silly.
particular point, but they would soon to become
Yeah.
teammates thereafter. All right, Skraby's got I think has an interesting Big Five today.
Oh, wow.
Some interesting subjects matters in there. So
I'll be the judge of that.
all right, let's get to it after some traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Might still see a scattered shower or two, but right now things are looking pretty good on our roads, guys. We're not showing any incidents, no accidents. Stalled car on the Coronado Bridge. Heading over to the islands is near the old toll plaza. Also, watch out for what looks like a umbrella in the left lane, westbound 78 before Emerald. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
The Manning brothers are also a part of the Pro Bowl event. They will be coaches of each team. Eli for one team, and then Peyton for the other team.
I find the Manning brothers to be hilarious when they have scripted material.
You don't like them freestyling?
Not as much.
Okay.
No. Not as much.
I'm sorry. I've never heard of Miles Killebrew.
Oh, this is the one where they got to catch. See how many footballs they can catch, like while holding them. I like this.
Okay.
Well, don't let us interrupt you, Tony.
Yeah.
Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the
not.
Pro Bowl games.
Did not expect that.
Sorry.
Number 5.
I was more talking about the person that's competing. A special teamer named Miles Killebrew is competing in the Pro Bowl.
Good for
All
him.
right. CBS Sports polled some of their baseball writers about which new rules they want to see possibly implemented in baseball. And these aren't like pitch clock rules, but some of them said they wanted rules to make the starting pitcher a thing again. But our guy, Matt Snyder, brought up an interesting rule he wants to see. He wants regulation on the base running oven mitts. His reasoning is because they extend several inches off the hand and makes it easier on the base stealer to reach base. Tony, should the MLB look at this?
No, I mean, there should be a regulation in terms of how long they allow it to be. But
what if the oven mitt was the length of a swimming pool noodle?
Well, that's what I'm
And
saying.
you just like reached out and touched second base with the end of the noodle.
I'm pretty sure that they have some type of regulation. Now, maybe they need to enforce it in terms of how long it gets. But ultimately, that's there for safety, right? You don't want dudes sliding in there and breaking fingers. And it used to happen a lot more now before these oven mitts came into play. But I think Major League Baseball, they're not going to let it get too long. They're not stupid. They want this to be right. So I'm sure they already do. Now they'll probably be enforcing it more. So that's not the rule I was looking to hear from our guy, Matt.
This was all just fun rules.
Oh, fun rules.
I'm agreeing with Matt
got some good
Snyder
rules.
100%. Bring back the days where you rolled up some baseball batting gloves and put them in your fist and slid into second safely.
Slower.
It just is so funny that
I'd never understood the putting the batting gloves in your hand.
well, doesn't it just
So
keep
you
from the
would-
dirt getting the palms?
The idea is for you not to put your hands down.
I mean, have you ever skinned your palm before?
No,
It
because I've
hurts.
never had batting gloves in my hand.
He's Chris, you agree with Matt Snyder? Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to say though, because we were talking about the broadcast, it's the Pro Bowl broadcast. I should have probably not said that I knew what I was talking about when I didn't.
Well, we don't take you seriously. When
I
you say
know.
that anyway,
I'm
so.
trying to work on it. Westwood One is not going to be offering a play-by-play broadcast of the flag football games or skills, but they are going to produce a 3-hour feature show around the event and preview the Super Bowl. So if you're in your car on Sunday driving somewhere starting at noon, you will hear some NFL content around the Super Bowl. Basically is what I'm trying to say here.
Number 4.
The fallout from Bill Belichick and the Patriots parting ways is starting to produce some juicy stories from the inside. I guess Tom Brady's father talked to the Boston Globe, and one of those stories was about Robert Kraft and his regret for letting Tom go. Brady Sr. said, quote, talking about Kraft, he just said, I made a mistake. He told us that back in September. We don't all make the right decisions, but he's made a hell of a lot of good ones over the years. But I know that it galls him that Tommy went elsewhere and won. Not that he won, but that he won after Bill Belichick said Tom was done. So, Chris, is this just all talk, or did the Patriots lose out on at least one Super Bowl?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, Brady had an unbelievable thing with Tampa Bay. I mean, they didn't have a great year that year, though.
No.
I think they were the 5 seed. Caught fire in the playoff.
Were they the wild card team too? I think so.
They were, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's a tough thing to say. I mean, Brady, I'm glad this worked out the way it did because it creates some good controversy.
Well, what do you think, Tony? Do you think the Patriots missed out at least one Super Bowl? Because the story, while you're thinking, the story is that Bill told Robert Kraft that Tom was done and they needed to move forward on a new quarterback. Robert Kraft trusted Bill. And then once they saw that Tom was not done, Robert Kraft was jealous that Tom was not a Patriot.
I mean,
I think you're piling on Belichick while he's down.
I think ultimately Bill ended up being, he was just a year early. But you run that risk. I mean, that's what Bill Belichick had been known for, like getting rid of guys just on the right time. Well, he ended up being a year early, and that ended up costing him a Super Bowl. But I don't know that Robert Kraft should be mad at that. One more Super Bowl. I mean, like, it's not like Tom went over to the Bucks and he won like 3 straight, and it's like it was a clear. He certainly fell off. I don't want to say a cliff, but the following year after the Super Bowl, he wasn't the same quarterback.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That is.
I think this is a little bit of piling on of
I just find it
Belichick.
interesting that Tom Brady's dad is the one who's bringing
this happens all the time. One of these breakups happen soon thereafter. Stories start kind of finding their way out.
Yeah.
Which
That's what
we had
happens.
never heard before until now.
Yeah.
Number 3.
0-0 right now in Lakers Celtics.
Yes,
so you guys
it's
know.
11 seconds into the game.
Good job, Tony. You're hanging in.
It's actually 2-0 Celtics.
Oh,
now.
as soon as I turn my head.
So I saw this tweet earlier, and I had to read it 3 times to make sure I was reading it correctly. But Peter Thiel or Thiel. I'm not sure what his last name is, how it's pronounced, but Peter Thiel and a group of venture capitalists are funding the Enhanced Games, an Olympic-style competition that allows performance-enhancing drugs. The events are going to include track and field, swimming, gymnastics, weightlifting, and then this scares me, the combat sports, while you're allowed to use performance-enhancing drugs. The first Enhanced Games are going to be in 2025. Obviously, this has people split. Tony, is this promoting cheating?
There are a lot of people in the sports world that like this idea of just letting it all hang out. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, is there some type of regulation in terms of how doped up you can be?
I don't know.
Can you just, because now you're worrying about safety. I mean, because,
these aren't healthy things.
These aren't too much of it is not good.
Yeah.
I would think. Yeah, this is interesting. Track and field, there's going to be some blowouts. There's going to be some gruesome hamstring, soft tissue explosions.
My goodness.
I'm just saying.
You just painted that.
The reason why these things happen is the muscle gets too big for the tendon to hold on to.
I know, I deal with it all the time.
I'm interested. I mean, I guess the real question is, would you watch it?
Yes, I will.
I would say I would definitely watch it.
I'm not going to watch it
I don't know if I want to watch the combat sport part, but I would definitely want to see track and field, swimming. I don't know gymnastics where that plays in.
Diesel just wrote on the chat, Barry Bonds' ears just perked up.
Stop it.
Chris, do you think this is promoting cheating?
I don't know, but I am hearkening back to the Saturday Night Live skit with Hans and Franz. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The two weightlifters, and they reach down to pull up the weights, and their arms come off.
Yes.
I guess I would probably pay to watch. I don't know.
I think
it's crazy. I don't know. I put it in the same category as the guy who wanted to do the irrelevant bowl for the two worst teams in college football.
Oh, yeah.
It's like everybody's trying to make a buck on something.
That is true.
To answer your question, I don't think it's promoting cheating. I mean, everybody's doing the same thing, right? So I don't know that it's promoting it.
Trevor has a good point on the chat.
What you got, Trevor?
It will show us if it's interesting. The public will let us know. That's true. If this is a success, then cheating will be allowed.
Oh, my gosh. When you see that, taking over, if the consumer is asking for cheating athletes, wouldn't be cheating anymore, just enhanced athletes.
I don't really need enhanced. That's why I like watching sports, because these guys are supposed to just use what they got.
Regular, yeah, that's a good point.
Number 2.
Let me ask you this. Would you like to see a NASCAR race where there was no governors on the speed of the car?
They do have some of those.
I don't know. Do they?
Yes.
I thought all races and NASCARs were.
Maybe that's changed the last few years, but I know on
somebody knows a lot more about auto racing.
Daytona and Talladega, I don't know that they have speed limiting, but they do on other tracks.
I mean, should they have limiting? I mean, or is it too dangerous to just let them fly around there at the fast they possibly can go?
Yeah, I think it's too dangerous for them to be driving 200 miles an hour on a half-mile track or something like that.
There you are.
Number 2.
New Carolina Panthers head coach Dave Canales was asked about his assessment of Panthers quarterback Bryce Young and had a lot of nice things to say, and even confirmed Young was at the top of the Buccaneers quarterback draft chart last year when he was with the Bucs as the offensive coordinator. He also said, quote, "He's got the right makeup to be able to be a champion." And so then you watch him play NFL football, and I still see the accuracy, the mobility, the courage in the pocket. All those things are still there, end quote. I don't know what else he's supposed to say about his new quarterback, but Chris, is this a make or break year for Bryce Young?
No. Second year? No. Like to see some improvement, but no. Second year? I mean, what's Josh Allen in now? About 7th?
Maybe 6th,
right?
That's
I mean, it
there.
takes time for not everybody is Brock Purdy.
Right.
Gets in that kind of
I wasn't going
situation
for
where
that,
they can.
but-
Yeah, I know. I'm beating you to the punch. But no, Marino. I mean, there's so few guys that get it done at that level by their second year.
Yeah, 6 years for Josh Allen.
Mahomes. I mean, there's a very
Mahomes
few.
boy.
Very
Fluffy.
few. So no, it's not make or break at all. He's got to just keep, fighting the good fight. But no matter what he does, I don't think he's ever going to catch up to C.J. Stroud. He seems like he's that far behind already.
Tony, is this a make or break year for Bryce Young?
No, I think Bryce Young is. I think everybody's selling low on him right now, and it's easy to do that when you got a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud having a year that he has. But we've also seen year 2 jump on players' backs and be a completely different season. So I think Bryce Young's going to be fine. I don't think this is a make or break year for him.
All right.
Number 1.
So we told you the story about Mark Andrews earlier, and I'll quickly recap it if you are just tuning in. So Mark Andrews was on a flight from Baltimore to Phoenix when a passenger had a medical emergency, and so the flight attendants tried to get some doctors to help. No one was on the flight. Mark Andrews stood up and recognized that it was signs of something to do with diabetes. So he tested her, found out that her blood sugar was low, and so he helped her out, and, she lived because of it.
Saved her.
Now, Mark Andrews didn't do anything. He didn't post anything. He didn't say anything. But a person on the plane did tweet all this story to get it out there. So my question to you, Tony, is if Mark Andrews wasn't really wanting to highlight this, would you have put it on social media?
Would I have?
You?
No.
Okay.
If Mark Andrews did this in front of me and then walked off, would I then put it on social media? Is that what you're asking? Or if it was me who did it?
If you were just on a plane, and you're the guy, you're on the plane, Mark Andrews does this. Are you, when you land, going on Twitter and being like, boo, 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 boo?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I just think, there's a reason why he probably did it that way.
Yeah.
Where he should, I guess the question is, should we, any of us, want attention for an act like that, right? It's out of kindness. It's from the heart, right? You want to help somebody who needed help.
Yeah.
Now, for the people around him, I guess you really can't control that.
No.
But for me personally, I would not send that out.
Yes. Chris, I
probably wouldn't do it, but I'd like somebody to do it.
Okay.
I'm glad Mark Andrews is getting a little love for
All
what he
right.
did.
That's
and if somebody didn't, if no one did it, then we wouldn't have known about this act of kindness and heroism.
The most important person would have known about it.
Mark
Person
Andrews
life
and
was
the
saved.
person
The
who was
person's
saved.
life was saved.
Yeah, but I think it's good for us to know. I'm
I
glad
do
somebody
too.
did it.
I do too, because we definitely aren't talking about Mark Andrews at all if this story doesn't come out. But there's something about him not wanting it to become a big thing that maybe would keep me from
Yeah, I
doing
probably
it.
wouldn't. That's why I said I wouldn't do it,
Yeah.
but I'd hope somebody would do it, which is really contradictory.
All right. That is it for the Big Five, everyone.
Strong Big Five, Scrape.
Thank you.
Had some
Thank
good ones
you.
in there today.
Thank you. Do you know what we're gonna do on the other side?
No, why don't you tell us?
We are going to tell everyone where Manny Machado ranks in MLB Network's top 10 third baseman heading into this year. And then we are going to tell everyone where Nolan Arenado ranks. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around. All of that is next on 97.3 The Fan.
At long last, we have made it to the happy hour. Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby.
It's amazing.
5 o'clock is the time. We're an hour away from the Skraby Chronicles, which get underway at 6 o'clock. And
another 2 hours left for Skraby.
Yeah, take us right up until
Don't
7 this evening.
I'm having a great time doing this.
Skraby's going to have a remarkable daily gripe today. We've given him plenty of possible topics to get to. I wanted to, before we get to your thought here, Skraby, kicking off. And first of all,
Kicking them off.
I know a lot of people tune in at 5 o'clock, want to know what happened today, what I miss.
Nothing.
There you go.
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing happened today. The Commanders did hire their new head coach. Skraby and I argued about it for about 45 minutes. I think the Commanders should have gone with Mike
That's
Vrabel.
how we opened the show.
That's all we had. I think they should have gone with Mike Vrabel. They went with Dan Quinn. We'll see how that works out for the Washington Commanders. Lakers.
Real quick, before we talk about the Lakers, who still haven't made a shot since I sat down in this room.
Every time you leave the room, they go on a 10-0 run. Every time you come back, they go 0-for. Another miss.
We were talking about Embiid in the 65 game. He's going to be ineligible. It's found out he has a lateral meniscus injury.
Yeah.
It's going to keep him out for some time.
I mean, he's already missed, 12 games? And 15 is the limit?
I think he had 3 left.
Right. So Joel Embiid will not be the MVP under the current rules of the NBA.
Yeah.
And not only that, the 76ers got fined like $40,000 today for not properly reporting his injury.
Yeah, this
goes on and on and on now in the NBA.
My guess is that team in black and purple is going to get fined too. With AD and LeBron missing this game, maybe not for LeBron, but this is short notice. They were questionable coming in, and then within 5 hours, they were then ruled out. So,
I mean, if you're in Boston, maybe you're not a Celtic fan. It's possible. And maybe you're a fan of the NBA and you want to see LeBron James and Anthony Davis play.
The one and only time they show up there.
And you show up for the game tonight, and neither of them are playing. So Lakers are ahead, though, by 9 in the first quarter, 24-15. Here's my question before we get to the countdown of the top third baseman in baseball. And it's not baseball related, but I saw it last night. I wanted to ask you guys' opinion. Northwestern Purdue last night in overtime. Close game. I think Purdue was up by 2. Shot clock running down, the whole thing. Purdue swings the ball around. Kid, not Zach Edey, another player, steps out, hits a pretty deep 3 to beat the shot clock, give Purdue a 5-point lead, put them in pretty good position to win. His celebration is that of a guy cupping his hands just below his
marbles,
shorts.
Big marbles.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all right with you? I mean, I know this is the old man on the lawn speaking, but I love me some, hey, look at me, I'm great. I don't know
if you love me some, look at me, I'm great. I don't think you really love that.
All right, you're right. I don't love it. I've become used to it. You're right, Tony. You're right. I've become used to it, and I've accepted it. But, I mean, do we need to really be displaying that particular move after a big shot?
I will say.
Or am I being too?
No, I think it's risque.
Okay.
I will say the young man didn't come up with it.
Right. I know.
Sam Cassell, Kobe Bean.
Oh, wow. That long ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sam Cassell, I think, got fined. He was the first person to get fined for doing the Major League 2 marbles celebration.
It's true.
Kobe Bryant hit that at one point.
Kobe did that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, that's to me, that's in today's day and age. That's light work.
Tame?
that's
light
tame?
work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm behind the times, I guess, and I don't mind admitting it. I'm sticking up for all of us out there who'd like to see a little clean basketball once in a while. I know I sound nerdy, but I can't help it.
No, I can understand why some
can see
people
why
view
too.
it in a negative way.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the NBA, they fined both of those guys when they did it, so they clearly felt like it was a little too far in terms
it's
of
a family game. It's a family sport.
Yeah, it definitely is. Kids are watching.
I didn't know that was a great move by the Purdue kid. And I don't know if everybody caught it, but they showed the replay, and then he turned around and it was right in the camera. I couldn't miss it.
It was right in the camera. I actually stood up and applauded for him. Like I was.
Oh, did you?
You liked it. You didn't like it that much.
I didn't even see it.
Yeah,
but I know exactly what you're talking about, and I understand why some people wouldn't want it to happen. Before we get to the top 10 third baseman right now, according to MLB Network, Chris, you were caught eating a sandwich going to break in the YouTube stream. And
they saw that?
I hit the break thing just a little too late. It wasn't like he did anything embarrassing, but we have someone saying ham and rye and would like to know your sandwich. So what were you eating, sir?
Oh, this was just PB&J.
Ah, good.
Very
classic.
Chunky, we got to ask. Chunky peanut butter?
I don't think so.
Nah, nobody does chunky.
How you know if it's chunky peanut butter?
Nobody
creamy.
does chunky. It's creamy, man.
Everybody does chunky
That's
peanut
a
butter.
I like a lot of
That's a
jelly
lie.
and not that much peanut butter.
Me too.
Okay.
Me too.
I want
I've been
extra
really
chunk.
into Crustables lately, so this is good conversation right up mine.
You ever had goobers where they mix it together?
I have,
You
yeah.
find
I
that
have
to be
had goobers.
disgusting?
I'm not,
or
I'm not a
okay?
fan of that.
Not a fan.
No.
It's
I need to be
different.
able to control my
The
peanut
amount?
butter to
Got
jelly ratio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So you're not a chunky guy. Okay.
Not a chunky
All
guy.
right. All right.
You know, we were talking about wait, was that here we were talking about biting into particular food? Was it a hot pocket? What was it? We were talking about something burning
apple
the
pie.
Today
Oh,
is
it's
the
apple pie.
Yeah.
That
burning the roof of your mouth.
yeah, no, I'm not a fan of the chunky because the chunky can tear up the roof of your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of that.
Okay. It might do
Yeah,
that.
I
It
know
might do
I know
that.
it's happened to you before.
With
you
my
remember.
SD fat loss, I haven't been able to eat peanut butter in like over 60 days. I may have to go get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
It's a classic, man. I
It
mean, I
is.
spent a lot of minor league days having PB&Js. It's the only thing they had in some of the lower levels that was worth eating. Yeah.
All right.
That was the
So-
day. That was in the days before he went out and bought
3x3.
years worth of 4x4s.
Yeah,
In-N-Out Burger.
different times.
Different times. All right. So the MLB top 10 third baseman right now for 2024, there is four picks, I guess, but the Shredder is the one that I saw first. So we'll go with the Shredder first.
Who is the Shredder? That's
We've talked about this before.
I
We
don't
don't
know if they
know.
know who. I don't know who the Shredder is or who's calling themselves the Shredder.
I don't know. But we were talking about this earlier. I mean, basically, since we started the show, Chris, rightfully so, has an issue with how Nolan Arenado is the golden child of the third base position in baseball over everyone. Well, the list came out, and I thought this was amazing. So, number one ranked third baseman, according to MLB Network right now, the Shredder, Austin Riley of the Braves. I don't think we can.
Who is the Shredder? You're confusing me. Is it MLB Network's rankings?
They're whoever put the list together is calling themselves the
And I've
Shredder,
looked this
right?
up before, but I cannot.
That's right. This is the Shredder's list.
Yes, the
Okay.
Shredder's list. I typed in Shredder and I just got a bunch of paper Shredder ads.
You can't Google everything,
no.
man.
Austin Riley, number one.
Look up Shredder.
Number two, Jose Ramirez of the Guardians. Do you guys agree so far?
Nah, I'm going to keep
I don't
going on
know.
this.
Yeah, I got to hear more.
Now,
Austin
number
Riley's
three,
having a couple good years. Ramirez is good.
on the Shredder's list,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Manny Machado, everybody.
Manny Machado.
Okay. And then number four, best third baseman on the Shredder's list, Rafael Devers of the Red Sox. Number five, Alex Bregman of the Astros. Number six, Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles.
I'll say one thing. It's a lot of American League guys so far, right?
Yeah. Number
Number
seven,
Riley and Machado are the only National Leaguers.
Number seven, Nolan Arenado of the
Yeah, I don't like this
Cardinals.
list.
And then it goes Max Muncy, Isaac. I know I asked you guys earlier. Is it Paredes? Paredes.
Yeah, from
Justin
Tampa Bay.
Turner is number 10. So here's my question.
Okay.
Nolan Arenado is always ranked ahead of Manny Machado when I look at these lists. But in this one, Manny Machado's number 3 and he's number 7. What happened this offseason?
I don't like this list at all. I just feel like it's a fugazi.
Okay.
I do, right? Because for how long they've been telling us that Nolan Arenado is the best third baseman in the world. This is like at least 8
He
years.
wins
in running.
Gold Glove and Silver Slugger at third base every year.
Okay, so
until this year,
and Manny couldn't beat him. So in a year in which Manny probably has, one of his worst years,
a bit of an off season, sure.
he jumps to third and he falls all the way to 7.
Yeah,
And then you got Gunnar Henderson ahead of him.
Yeah, and Manny's not even going to play for at least the first month or so.
I don't like
two
this
of the
list.
season.
I like the list because Manny finally got ahead, but it
Yeah.
just if we're being fair, like explain how that list changed that drastically.
Well, let's also be fair and point out to people that this is the MLB Network, the same people who put
yeah,
out a
good
list of the
point.
top second basemen, top 10,
and
did
Ozzie
not
Albies.
include Ozzie
That's right.
Albies, something that is, by the way, irked the Atlanta Braves players. And
I
they've come
bet.
out
I
and
bet.
said, what are you guys thinking?
That's what they should
really?
be saying.
Exactly. So
Yeah, so you know what, that
I
answers
like
my question.
Manning where he is too, but I the list doesn't make a whole lot
We're
of
getting
sense.
on the chat. Shredder is AI. Maybe they put it through a computer and they spit it out, and that's
that
the
makes
rankings.
sense why it's so bad.
Well, that's why it's
Also,
weird,
a random
maybe.
ham said, I thought it was required that Nolan Arenado be the best ranked third baseman in the National League.
We all were under the same assumption.
But here's the thing that's even more crazy. Crazier. The Shredder's one of them. Mike Petriello's another one. Vince Gennaro's the third one. And then Sarah Langs is the fourth one.
Okay, there's Sarah. Which was Sarah's list look like?
Okay, Sarah goes Austin Riley, Jose Ramirez, Alex Bregman, Rafael Devers, Gunnar Henderson, Manny Machado, Brian Hayes, Jake Berger, Matt Chapman, and then Nolan Arenado at 10.
Man, Nolan has fallen way off on some of these lists.
Manny is averaging a rank of 4, and Nolan Arenado is averaging a rank of 21 plus 1031 divided by 4, 7.5.
The one thing we can say is Nolan Arenado did not win the Gold Glove last year.
Yeah.
Nor the Silver Slugger.
Is that why? Is that the
So
sole
I
purpose
believe
that he
that
falls
is
8
one of
spots?
the things that's taken him down off the love meter. But who was the Gold Glove winner? Who ended up winning?
Third base?
It was Brian Hayes. Was it Ryan McMahon? And then whoever won. And Manny didn't even make the finals. We were like,
No,
it was McMahon, I think, who ended up winning, right?
Matt Chapman.
In the American
National
sorry,
League, Skraby,
sorry.
please.
It's loading.
Matt Chapman.
We can't sound like we're smart unless we sound like we know what we're doing. And that's a
Brian
rarity
Hayes.
Brian Hayes.
Brian Hayes won the Gold Glove.
For the first time in 11 years, a third baseman not named Nolan Arenado has won the Gold Glove at the hot corner in the NL.
He can pick it. You know what's funny is the last 2 years we've gone into Pittsburgh and we talked to, obviously getting notes for the game. We talked to their play-by-play guys and you talk to radio guys, and they're like, man, Brian Hayes kid is unbelievable defense. This is back-to-back years this happened. And in back-to-back years, he proceeded to have like the worst defensive series.
Against the Padres, he didn't do anything?
There and at our place. And but he can pick it. So clearly he got to
his outs above average are like 20 more than the second place. I think he had 38.
Yeah, like he gets to a lot of things, which is maybe why some of the errors happen. But
it's pretty impressive that anybody could end Arenado's 10-year streak, but for somebody who to end his streak, I think it should have been Manny, like years and years ago. Because as good as Arenado is, I think Manny's been as good.
I don't think there's no disagreement there.
Not in this town.
Nope.
Not in this town. All right, we'll take a quick timeout. Still to come on the program. Who knows? We have somehow gotten to this point. We'll see if we can keep rolling. We've got our interview of the day with Russ Dorsey, MLB insider. Who should the Padres go after at this point? Russ will offer some of his ideas, and we'll keep you up to date on everything going on this evening in the sports world after we check traffic on a rainy Thursday. Gwynn and Chris.
Hey everyone, it's Skinny Skraby for SD Fat Loss, and that's right, I've lost over 36 pounds, and I say over because I'm done with the diet, but I'm still doing it, and I've lost another pound. So now I'm at 37 pounds, and I'm trying to get to 40 pounds lost. SD Fat Loss's plan is healthy weight loss, and it helps you to keep the weight off long term. One of the biggest reasons I was able to lose so much weight was because SD Fat Loss broke it all down for me, told me what I needed to eat, how much I could eat, when to eat, all of that stuff. And once I started following it, the weight fell off. And don't worry, because you can make all your meals yourself. You don't have to buy any prepackaged foods or anything like that. Just go to the grocery store, and if it's on the approved list, you can have it. And after you're done with the diet, SD Fat Loss is going to help you maintain the weight loss, and they're going to help you come up with a plan to do so. I was really tired of trying to lose weight. So if you're tired of trying to lose weight and not having it work, you need to call for your free consultation right now. 858-665-3211 or go to sdfatloss.com.
It's not often we get into the 5 o'clock hour and get some like real breaking news. First, we'll start in the NFL. Former Cardinal head coach Kingsbury. What's his first name? Cliff
Kingsbury, yeah.
He's now the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, good for him.
Now, bigger news. This one just came out of nowhere. Now, I haven't seen it on my phone yet, but Skraby's got it on his, so we're going to go
I do.
with it.
I got
We're going with it?
Yahoo Sports. That's a legit
Yahoo.
website.
All right.
Got Chris all choked up again.
A little bit.
According.
Wow. Corbin Burns.
Yes.
Going from Milwaukee to the Orioles.
Yeah.
They were catching a lot of flack from baseball circles for not doing anything at the break last year. And they've been relatively quiet during
Who's that? The Orioles?
The Orioles.
Okay.
During this offseason. But now all of a sudden you bring a bona fide front end arm to that rotation.
That's a big get.
That's
I
a
have the
huge
return.
what?
I have the
I
return.
thought you would tell
Who's
me.
going back to the Brewers?
Yeah, it's shortstop Joey Ortiz and left-hander DL Hall,
Don't know
according to
either.
Jeff Passan.
Okay.
What are they got any numbers next to them from what they did last year?
I'll look them up real quick, but that's what Jeff Passan
I could
said.
just off top. I mean, I only saw the Orioles once when they came here last year.
Yeah.
Don't know any of those two guys. I know the first one though that went to the Orioles. That's a big deal, man.
Corbin Burns. You've heard of him.
Yeah, it's a real
I
big
guess
deal.
Joey Ortiz played 15 games at the major league level last year,
So a young
and
guy.
yeah, I mean, he's been in the minor leagues for most of his career, and
This is one of those. This is one of those Brewer moves, right? They did it with Hader to the Padres, and my guess is there's going to be another move down the line that's connected to this move that makes the Brewers feel good about this particular move here.
Yeah. You think Craig Counsell doesn't feel pretty good about his decision to go to the Cubs?
Oh, I think he feels great
Get
about
away
his
from
decision.
the Brewers after that move. I mean, you just traded Corbin Burns for basically one guy. Skraby says is a career minor leaguer. I looked him up. He had 33 at bats last year.
DL Hall's
Who's the other guy?
Appeared in 29 games in his career. I
Yeah.
mean, 22 and
DL
23.
Hall
Yeah.
pitched, 19 innings last year.
At the big league level?
Yeah. So 19 innings, 33 at bats for a Cy Young Award winner. I know it's money related, but that just doesn't, I don't get it. And those kinds of moves bug. You could get a younger player in a money deal that at least has some potential for the Brewers. Doesn't sound like either of these. Well, I'll be wrong. Maybe DL Hall will be the all-star closer this year.
DL Hall is actually a 21st overall pick in his draft.
I just think the Brewers operate in a way that there's a move to a move, right? This move makes no sense, just as the Hader move made 0 sense. But if I'm not mistaken, they turned the Hader deal into what's the catcher? Wilson Contreras. And that was something they felt was comparable, because it's not like they didn't slide Devin Williams into that closer spot, and he has worked out pretty good.
Right,
So,
but they had a closer when they traded Hader, so they could afford to accept something less for Hader,
right?
Because they had the replacement.
Now
They certainly don't have a replacement for Corbin Burns.
we don't think they do, at least, right?
Is this a well, we said they don't have the money to pay Corbin Burns long term because he's on it's a 1-year deal. So this is a 1-year rental.
It's
for
a
the
1-year
Orioles.
rental, which is probably why they only got back what they got back, because the Orioles are like, yo,
exactly.
We can't guarantee he's going to stay here. I think for the Orioles having that new ownership helps, right? Because now all of a sudden maybe some cash is infused. The other thing is it does make you maybe understand why Craig said, you know what, it's time to move on. Because if you're constantly in this state where you're having to give up that type of talent.
Yeah, I think you could see this coming if you're the Brewers, because your manager left for another team in the division.
Right.
I mean, he could obviously see, wait a minute, I better get to this team because this boat's sinking over here.
Yeah. Wow, it's a big deal, man. Corbin Burns.
That is a
Out
big
of
deal.
the National League.
I tell you what, those two.
He's done some pretty good damage to the Padres, that's for sure.
Him and
He's pitched some good games.
him
Woodruff?
with Woodruff.
Yeah, they both
was
pitched well.
nightmares. So good.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Get him up out of here.
Get him out of here. And let's also just one more time for the hell of it say that this is reportedly done.
Yes, reportedly.
I know if, later on tonight somebody says, oh, Yahoo Sports jumped the gun and that never happened, then we'll get blamed.
Well, this would be Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal.
I'm just saying, until I see it somewhere kind of in ink,
No,
I don't
I think
feel
that's very
1,000% comfortable about it. There was one other, we're just searching for stories. Jim Harbaugh was introduced to the media today in Inglewood.
He's already
California.
created a meme.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. In his interaction as he was explaining it to the press, his first time meeting
Spanos?
No, the quarterback.
Oh, Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert, he kind of like looked up to the sky like, oh, this guy. And, now that kind of face the face he made is like making its rounds around social media
like
already.
he's in awe.
Yes.
Well, here's a quote that'll make it around social media. I guarantee you. Jim Harbaugh said in his first news conference today, not going to just win a Super Bowl. It needs to be multiple championships.
Oh, man, we're going the not one, not two, not three, not four route.
I guess so. He
That
says
is bold.
He followed that up by saying, we're going to be humble. I swear to God.
That's
I'm
the
reading
definition
quote.
of not being humble.
Needs to be multiple championships. We're going to be humble.
Does he realize that he chose a team inside the same division as the GOAT right now, Patrick Mahomes? You have to get past that guy first.
I mean, more importantly, like it's not even like top 4 in his city in terms of teams.
Yeah,
not even top
10. We named 9 teams that are more popular than
Lakers,
the Chargers.
Clippers, Dodgers, Angels,
Sparks,
Kings,
Kings, Ducks, UCLA, USC.
Yeah, that's 10. That's
CSUN, Cal State Fullerton,
Loyola Marymount.
They're all bigger than the Chargers. Come on, don't kid yourself.
Not even top 10 in his own city.
John Bosco. Is that
St. John Bosco?
St. John Bosco. Padre fans know to tune in to 97.3 The Fan for the best local sports talk. But did you know that you can jump back to see what you missed? On 97.3 The Fan, SD.com, you can rewind to the moments you care most about. To get started, go to 97.3 The Fan, SD.com, and click the orange Listen Live button. Yeah. Lakers, where we at?
They're winning. They've hit about 10 threes, the Lakers have. They've just basically said, without LeBron, without AD, we have no chance to score in the paint. So we're just going to surround the three-point line and gun them up, and they're making them so far. So they're leading the Celtics. Nicely done, Tony. Don't look.
I'm not.
Every time Tony turns around, the Celtics go on a run.
We got the dodgeball competition going on in the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge. This was my favorite thing last year.
I'm so glad we're all paying attention to the show here.
Well, I mean, this is the only sporting event I care about.
Have
right
you seen the dodgeball meme where my man does kind of points with his hand and does the round the back toss? I think that should be done on this stage right here.
You never know. You never know. These guys get competitive, though. I mean, they're professional athletes.
All right, let's get to break. When we come back, we got our interview of the day. It's not Ken Dorsey, but it is Russ Dorsey. When we return, more Gwynn and Chris on the way.
I'll tell you one thing, Skraby. You got to lock the studio door. Do not let Tony back in here.
Okay.
The Lakers are shooting three-pointers tonight like they are just a team full of Larry Birds. They're in Boston. They're beating the Celtics without LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Lakers lead by 12, 58-46. The reason they lead by 12, they've hit 13 threes in the first half, and they just keep bombing away.
And 12 of them have been made when Tony's outside the studio.
I think all 13. I don't think he's seen even one of them go in.
Oh, maybe not a 3. We did see a jump shot. That's right. It was a 2.
Tony Gwynn Jr., the Hex, on his own favorite team.
I've been waiting for Tony to realize that we're back.
Don't look up.
Wow. Tony just looked at the score.
You just
How you
ruined it.
feeling, big guy?
Lakers by 14. They're making everything they try when you're not in the studio.
No, I mean, that's why I stayed out there even though the show was coming back. I wanted to try to squeeze out as many points as I could before I came back in. Because I know as soon as I come back in there, we're about to go on a drought.
They're 13 of 13 from the three-point line when you're out of the studio. They're 0 for 11 when you're in the studio tonight. Lakers 60, Celtics 46. That's a surprising score considering LeBron and AD are not playing. All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris, Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr., and Matt Skraby. We've got our interview of the day with Russell Dorsey, baseball insider, helping us answer the question, what are the Padres going to do now? Find out what Russ had to say about that. Is there anything else you guys wanted to get into before we?
I mean, we got some all-star reserves for the NBA.
NBA all-star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 first-timers. Jalen Brunson.
Whoops. Sorry about that.
Tyrese Maxey. Go ahead. You give me that.
There.
Paolo Banchero.
Banchero. I think it's Banchero.
Is it Banchero?
I like to call him Banchero also.
I think it's Banchero.
I think it is
You're right.
Banchero.
The Patrick Mahomes lookalike.
Does he look like Patrick
No,
Mahomes?
remember when the guy was interviewing him on the racetrack and he interviewed him like he was Patrick Mahomes?
Thought he was Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
He did.
Yeah. Patrick Banchero didn't have the guts to correct him, or didn't have the heart to correct him.
Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Julius Randle, Bam Adebayo for the remaining reserves. In the West, Steph Curry, 10th selection.
How about Steph Curry, not a starter? That's how good the league is now.
Yeah, that's
nobody's really arguing
Shea
that.
Gilgeous Alexander.
He's not a
SGA.
starter either?
No, he is a starter, which
okay.
is
That's what I was
why
gonna say.
Steph isn't the starter this year. It's Luka and SGA. Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, all reserves. They'll be joined by Booker, Cat, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Edwards. Are your remaining
That's how good the NBA
reserves.
players are now.
I know.
By the way, who you picking? Steph Curry or Sabrina Ionescu in a special three-point
Sabrina
contest on All-Star Saturday night?
I mean, Steph is the GOAT shooting, but Sabrina's going to make this
Sabrina
interesting.
can hit him.
She can shoot it.
Got to go with Steph. Steph's the best ever.
Ever.
So she beats him. That's quite the feather in her. What's the phrase?
Cap?
Cap. Yeah.
I didn't know if that was. It was so obvious. I didn't know if that's what you were actually going
just
for.
had a blank. That's all.
I believe if we're going to update the dodgeball competition at the Pro Bowl, I think CeeDee Lamb won it for his team by getting Sauce Gardner out of dodgeball. So there you go. Update on that.
Very nice.
You know, this is why we gave you your own show, to talk about stuff that no one cares about.
Oh, my goodness. That is messed up, Chris. Everybody cares about this.
Hey, Chris, did you
game.
hear Dan Quinn got hired as the Commanders?
I heard.
The Commanders head coach?
Do you think that's a good hire?
I think it's a really good hire. I love when he does my voice. I don't know, Jim. The Rams hired a new defensive coordinator today. Last name Shula.
Don?
That would have been a mistake. But Don Shula's grandson, Chris Shula, is the new defensive coordinator for the Rams. He apparently interviewed with the Dolphins.
Really?
They didn't choose somebody with the name of Shula.
Man, I kind of respect that, actually.
All right.
So we're moving on.
Yeah.
Let's go to traffic, and then today's interview with Russell Dorsey, find out some baseball insight that we all need.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Well, the brunt of the rain has moved on. We're not ruling out a scattered shower or two today and tomorrow, but yeah, for the most part, we are dealing with pretty good conditions on our roads. No incidents or accidents to report. I'm Kelly Danik with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Joining us on the line, Russ Dorsey, MLB Insider. Russ, always lovely to have you on the show. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing all right. It's a little wet out here. I don't know what the weather is like in Chicago, but
usually this time of year, I'd much rather be where y'all are than where I am, but we're actually doing all right. It's about 52 degrees, sun shining, so we actually got a nice day.
You got to go for a sail on Lake Michigan. It sounds like.
Listen, I went for my first outdoors run here of 2024 today. Got 3 miles in, so I had the same idea in mind, getting some of that outdoors weather.
Awesome,
very good.
Awesome. I mean, you don't get these type of days in Chicago this time of year very often, so enjoy it. Speaking of the Cubs, let's start there. I mean, they have a nice free agent out there that was a part of their ball club last year. He has yet to sign. I'm talking Cody Bellinger. I mean, at this point, is Chicago? I think Chicago's still in it. Are they waiting for maybe that price tag to drop before they really jump all the way back in?
I think the interesting thing when we're talking about Cody Bellinger and free agency right now, and as you guys know, free agency's been pretty weird this year, right? It's been pretty slow. I think for Cody Bellinger, he's probably sitting there and saying, all right, I got time. We're February 1st. I know teams are reporting spring training here in a couple of weeks. But if you're Cody Bellinger, there's still teams that would like your services. It does feel like the Cubs are the match for him. And I think on the Cubs side, and this is what I've talked about with a lot of people since free agency started for the Cubs, now that all the big boys are off the board, right, or most of the big boys are off the board in terms of free agents, you have a guy in Cody Bellinger that had his best season since he won the MVP years ago, right? And so you have a guy who stayed healthy for the most part, obviously banged up a bit early in the season, but still was able to do his thing. If you take him off that roster, right, they not only lose Cody Bellinger, they lose their best position player from 2023, right? So I think it's a bigger calculation for them, right? It's not just saying we want Cody Bellinger back. It's like we want the guy who was our best position player last season back too. So it does feel like Cody Bellinger and the Cubs are a hand in glove fit. However, you got a lot of teams out there that are still looking for some punch here late in the game. And look, whether that's the Giants, is it Toronto who swung and missed a couple of times this offseason? That there are teams out there. And I think for Cody Bellinger and his representation, Scott Boras, you can sit back and wait for teams to come to you and see who blinks first.
I was just going to ask, who do you think is going to blink first? But I think I know the answer. If it's between Boras and it's between Major League Baseball teams, history tells us that the Major League Baseball teams are the ones who give in first and Boras wins. Do you think that's going to end up happening again in the next month and a half?
Do I think Scott wins? Well, Scott's clients usually win. If you look at all the money that he's got, guys, over 3 decades, 4 decades, his guys usually do pretty well. I do think the interesting part about this year's free agency, because of so many unknowns when it comes to regional sports networks, and I know people in San Diego have experienced that, and people in Arizona, and then you have teams like Texas Rangers, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Cleveland Guardians, all these teams caught up and everything going on with the Bally RSNs. I do think that has played a bit of a factor into what teams feel that they are able or not able to do. So do I think a team will blink first and Cody Bellinger will sign a multi-year deal somewhere? I do. But do I think this offseason specifically we're going to have more teams, kind of waiting for the bargain bin? I do.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, as you said, that's kind of every year, right? I mean, every year there's a team searching. There's teams searching in that bargain barrel, and then there's the teams looking to make it rain. And so, we'll see how this one ends up going down. You mentioned the Bally situation in Amazon. I'm interested. What are your thoughts on that? Because it seems like, Major League Baseball has been trying to figure out this whole streaming situation. We know Amazon Prime is one of those type of situations. How do you see this playing out?
Yeah, well, you guys know that's a situation I know pretty well from working over there for the last couple of years before leaving. And I think for me, you have Major League Baseball, who, to your point, have been trying to figure out, what is next in terms of watching baseball, right? I know you probably hear it out there. I hear it. I hate hearing it, but it's like people are like, oh, people don't watch baseball. One, it's not true, right? More people went to baseball games last season than they have in over 20 years. So baseball is doing things right in terms of the product on the field. But now that the world has changed so much in terms of where you can watch, how you can watch, what services you watch through, I do think baseball was kind of behind the times. And not just baseball, so were other sports, right? I think you're going to watch with the NBA. Their rights deal is up at the end of the season. There's going to be a lot of people lined up to get NBA rights TV deals. And some of these, old school, big time TV networks aren't really looking to have sports on like that anymore, knowing that the big boys like your Amazons, your Apples, and, I've been doing the Friday Night Baseball games for the last couple of seasons and how that has really changed. Like, does Apple get involved, right? Does Amazon get involved? And when those two, who have more money than anybody else in the world, get involved, there's going to be a lot of dollars thrown around. So do I think we get to a point where something like blackout restrictions ends? Yes. And I think that's great for the game of baseball as a whole. When does that happen, though? I think that's the question we're still waiting to see.
Russ Dorsey, Baseball Insider, is a frequent contributor to our program, and we appreciate it. Russ, guy that's real close to us is Blake Snell. And, we know we've kind of said our goodbyes here in San Diego. But, we're curious as to where he's going to ultimately land. The only team I keep hearing is the Yankees. But if it's that simple, why hasn't something gotten done yet? It sounds like he, fairly would like to be paid somewhere around what Yamamoto got paid, being as he's a two-time Cy Young Award winner. But I don't know that anybody's going to meet that asking price.
No, I think you're right. And I think it was the true definition of betting on yourself, right? Guy going his age 30 season, leading the big leagues in ERA, right? Where from, I believe, June 1st on, the guy had damn near a sub-1 ERA, striking out the world. And I think something that, teams think about, because it's not just one season that teams are thinking about in terms of free agency. It's like, all right, what's the entire Blake Snell picture, right? He's a guy that's going to be able to strike people out, right? He's also a guy that is going to walk people. And I do think that scares some teams, right? It was like, okay, if he's not going to be striking everybody out or be as electric as he was last season, if that's not his average, what is an average Blake Snell season? I think that's what a team is going to ask. And if he's not going to have this, close to 2 ERA that he had last season when he won the Cy Young Award, is that ERA closer to 3.5 or maybe 4 with the walks where they are? I think that's what some teams are asking about Blake Snell. And I think it's unfair for Blake because he did everything that you would have asked him to do. He went out there, he posted, he struck people out. He was able to dominate. That's what you want from an ace. You want somebody who can go out there and dominate. I think the Yankees are definitely would have been a fit, right? When they went and pivoted and signed Marcus Stroman. And then you have a team here in town like the Chicago Cubs who, they have a left-hander in Justin Steele, but, they added Imanaga. But you're still thinking, all right, if you had a guy like a Blake Snell, that rotation, with all their arms, with some of the young arms they have coming, that's a strong addition. So do I think Blake Snell has options? Yes. I do think, similar to Cody Bellinger, who is going to be that team that blinks, right? Who is that team that's going to say, we need a frontline starter and we want Blake Snell to be that guy?
Russ Dorsey joins us, MLB Insider, on Gwynn and Chris. And Russ, let's stick here in San Diego. I mean, obviously, the team did not play the expectation last year. You go out to this offseason, you move Soto, you get a bunch of young pitchers, up and coming pitchers back from that deal. This is still a team that has on its roster Manny Machado, Xander Bogaerts, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ha-Seong Kim. That's not to mention Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. This is a team that I know Chris and I believe will have a better season this year. Where do you think that falls in terms of the standings? What do you think their win mark is?
Yeah, it's tough considering all that the Dodgers did, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's just the Padres, right? I don't just think it's San Diego that saw what the Dodgers doing. It was all of baseball. And I think, it's unrealistic to say that's not going to be something that you got to deal with there if you're the Padres. But here's the other part. Do they have a talent advantage over a team like the Arizona Diamondbacks? Yes, they do. But at the same time, as we asked ourselves last season, when I came on with you guys during the season, it's just like, where are the real Padres? And they were never able to flip the switch. I think the saving grace for the Padres is in that lineup, right? Like you have to expect, another healthy season for Fernando Tatis Jr. He takes another step forward, right? Manny Machado, you're always going to get a consistent season, close to MVP caliber season out of him. And the big one for me would be Xander Bogaerts, right? The guy that they signed to $280 million deal last offseason, who had a 790 OPS, right? Is Xander Bogaerts the type of player to put up a 790 OPS? No, he's a guy that's usually well over 800, being able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He still put up a decent season, right? 285, 350 on base, but didn't hit the ball out of the ballpark as much, and that was to be expected. Fenway's a really hitter-friendly ballpark, but I do expect an offensive jump from a guy like a Xander Bogaerts. And maybe with, some of the changes they had to make this offseason, guys look around and say, well, we have to be the ones that, make that change. And I think they believe, and I think AJ Preller believes that with the managerial change and you bring in Mike Schilt, that he can get something out of this group that they haven't been able to get before.
Padres have been bargain shopping this offseason, and I'm just curious. I mean, as they get down here to the end of free agency, and I mean, some of the names I see don't seem like would be affordable for the Padres. They still need first base. They still need an outfielder or two just to fill out the roster. Is there anybody they can look to that might be available in a discount type form?
Yeah, I mean, and I guess when you're looking at outfielders, maybe guys like Kevin Pillar, maybe that's something that you think could work for you. Tyler Naquin, Will Myers, guys who have been around the block before. And I think when you're looking at first baseman, right, like, is Brandon Belt the type of guy you want to bring in? A guy who had a solid season, but is 36 years old. So I think that's something you're going to have to ask yourself. Like, do you go and look for some back-end starting pitching? The benefit for them, there's plenty of starting pitching out there that's not right at the top of the market, like Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery. Maybe, is it that a guy like, do you bring a Mike Clevenger back, right? Do you put a lotto ticket out on a guy like a Michael Lorenzen and hope that you can get something out of them? Those are the type of arms that I'm thinking that they're going to have to add, because you're not going to be at the top of the market, right? Zach Davies, Jake Odorizzi, guys like that. So they're fortunately for the Padres, there are players available in their, where their market is this offseason. And it's just deciding who they think is going to fit to make them a better team in 2024.
We certainly have heard a few of those names mentioned on our show, so especially the Brandon Belt. But Russ, as always, man, appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us, man. We'll do it again here as spring training gets ready to kick off.
Looking forward to it.
We got to let this guy go so he can go outside and enjoy the beautiful day in Chicago.
Snowing tomorrow. Y'all know Chicago.
Take care, Russ. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're headed out into the rain of San Diego, but Skraby will be sticking around for the Chronicles. They're coming up here in just a few minutes. We got to get Tony out of the studio, otherwise the Lakers will blow this 14-point lead before he gets to his car.
Very well, Mike. It's real quick, Skraby. I know you got the Skraby Chronicles coming up.
I do, yeah.
Are you going to take solace in the fact that Russ also mentioned Brandon Belt as the
possible
option.
target for the Padres. You had said that earlier in the week. And he said that without anybody giving him a heads
didn't
up.
text him that or anything, but it does make me feel good to know that maybe my baseball brain is not as dumb as I thought it was. So.
Well, we'll see. Maybe the Padres will wind up getting Brandon
Maybe
Belt
you're learning
before
some
it's all
things there,
said and
buddy.
done.
For $5 million, then I'm Nostradamus.
He would be.
You would be, he says.
Big news of the day. If you just tuned in, Corbin Burns goes from the Brewers to the Orioles. The Brewers get pretty much nothing in return, as far as I can tell.
Top 100 prospects, number
Yeah,
63.
good for them. All right. Actually, Tony and Skraby are going to be out at Cathedral Catholic High tomorrow.
Yep.
So come on down and see them. Rain or shine.
We will actually, let me say that I will tweet out if we're not going because of the rain. But I believe we're going to go.
Yeah, I heard the rain's kind of letting up.
Yes,
so hopefully
I
you'll
hear
be
that
there.
too.
That's the plan.
All right, goodbye, everybody. Stay tuned for the
Good night.
Chronicles next.